Chapter 21. Can't you be less stingy? Why is it so cold? Ningyi sat down by the fire, warming her small hands. With her pursuers dealt with, Ningyi relaxed. Lin Moyu knew the low temperature was due to the skeleton warriors and immediately ordered them to disperse. Knowing Lin Moyu didn't like to talk, Ningyi started chatting on her own. I found a lucky treasure chest in the Carmen Orc Legion camp in Shaohai City. You know, these chests appear randomly, and I happened to find one. I opened it and got this intermediate skill scroll. Those guys saw me with it. They wanted to steal my scroll, even though it's not worth much. I wasn't going to give up something I just found. So they chased me, and I ran. I've been running for 2 days from Shaohai City to West Sea City. Aren't they annoying? Like bedbugs? From Ningyi's words, it was clear that even 10 million gold coin intermediate skill scroll wasn't a big deal to her. It was hard to imagine which wealthy family she came from. Lin Moyu looked at Ningyi and waited for her to finish before saying softly, "You almost died earlier." Ningyi replied, "Don't worry, I can't die. When I receive fatal damage, I'm automatically teleported away. But still, thank you. If it weren't for you, I might not have died, but I would have been hurt. You know, getting hurt is painful, and Yi Yi hates pain the most." Lin Moyu realized his concern was unnecessary. She had an item that prevented her death. Ningyi reached out. "I gave you the intermediate skill scroll. Do you have any more food? I'm still hungry." Lin Moyu took out several buns, part of the loot from earlier, about 10 in total. Ningyi shook her head. "No buns. I want sweet potatoes." Lin Moyu smiled wryly and exchanged the buns for sweet potatoes. "That's better. I don't want to eat dead people's food," Ningyi said, happily eating the sweet potato. "Are sweet potatoes really that good?" Watching Ningyi eat, it seemed delicious. "Lin Dummy, are you here to level up? From your level, you probably haven't gone to a higher education institution yet, right?" Ningyi asked while eating. Lin Moyu nodded. "No, I haven't." Ningyi had gotten used to Lin Moyu's speaking habits. "So which higher education institution are you aiming for?" "Summer Capital University," Lin Moyu said softly. Summer Capital University is quite good." Hearing this, Ningyi didn't seem surprised at all. In her view, with Lin Moyu's strength, any university would be possible. Who else could easily kill level 20 career professionals at level 10? And 3 at once. If Lin Moyu couldn't get into Summer Capital University, probably no one could. Suddenly, Ningyi thought of something. Her eyes lit up. "If you go to Summer Capital University, remember to challenge their Divine Summer Tower. For your first challenge, the rewards are doubled. Try to climb as high as you can. You'll get more points that way. In Summer Capital University, points are more useful than gold coins. Also, there's a Creation God Academy in Summer Capital University. If possible, you must try to get in there." Ningyi seemed very knowledgeable about Summer Capital University and talked nonstop about it. From her words, Lin Moyu formed a general picture of Summer Capital University in his mind. Ningyi did 99% of the talking, with Lin Moyu mostly listening and occasionally responding. Eventually, Ningyi fell silent. Lin Moyu gave her a piece of clothing to use as a blanket and began meditating. The next day, as sunlight fell, Lin Moyu awoke from meditation with his spirit power fully restored. Ningyi was blinking with her big eyes at him. "Do you have any more sweet potatoes?" Ningyi asked with a grin, reaching out her hand. Lin Moyu directly handed her a sweet potato. "Not enough. I want more." Lin Moyu gave her another one. "Can't you be less stingy? It's just sweet potatoes. Can't you give me more?" Yes, yes, a big man should be generous. Give me all of them. Lin Moyu ended up giving Ningyi almost all of the 20-some sweet potatoes he had, leaving none for himself. Really no more? Ningyi still didn't believe him, looking like she wanted to dive into Lin Moyu's storage space. Lin Moyu nodded. Really, no more. Ningyi finally let it go. Okay, I believe you. This young lady has to go now. I need to level up too. Lin dummy. We'll meet again. Level up quickly so you can help me level up in the future. Ningyi left decisively, taking the sweet potatoes and the clothing she used as a blanket. After Ningyi left, Lin Moyu muttered to himself, help you level up in the future. After a whole night, the goblin monster still hadn't respawned. The monster respawn time far exceeded Lin Moyu's expectations. He thought it might be because he killed them too quickly. A faint smell of blood lingered in the forest. 3 corpses lay on the ground. Lin Moyu looked at the corpses and silently used the skill he had just learned yesterday. Corpse explosion. With a huge boom, a large area of trees was blasted to pieces. Not just knocking down, but truly shattered. A large crater appeared on the ground, 20 meters in diameter and 10 meters deep. The power was considerable. Lin Moyu discovered that the damage range of corpse explosion was 360 degrees in all directions. Looking at this, detonating in mid-air might be even more powerful. He had just detonated the mage's corpse. He ordered a skeleton warrior to throw the archer's corpse into the air. He activated the skill on the airborne corpse. Another huge explosion occurred, with even greater power, confirming his guess. An air burst was indeed more powerful. However, corpse explosion had a drawback. It could easily harm allies. He and his skeleton warriors wouldn't be harmed, but teammates in a party might not be so lucky. Chapter 22. A divine skill for destroying evidence. Another huge explosion echoed through the forest as the knight's corpse was detonated. The 3 were completely erased. Not even a trace remained. Undeniably, the corpse explosion skill was also a top-tier technique for destroying evidence. Lin Moyu headed towards West Sea Mine as he planned yesterday. That was the goblin's lair. As he got closer to West Sea Mine, the goblin clan's level gradually increased. Level 12 goblin warriors and level 13 goblin archers appeared one after another. But they were no match for the skeleton warriors with their extraordinary attributes. After a night of meditation, Lin Moyu's spirit power was fully restored, and he summoned 4 more skeleton warriors. He now had 48 skeleton warriors in total. As the summoned skeleton warrior skill reached level 10, the skeletons evolved from iron rank to bronze rank. The spirit power requirement also increased. Now summoning 1 skeleton warrior required 70 spirit power points. Lin Moyu had a total of 300 spirit power points. Like before, he could only summon 4 at a time. However, Lin Moyu was already very satisfied. One day, his summoning space would be full. He wasn't in a hurry. As he approached the West Sea Mine dungeon, more people appeared. The monsters on the road to the dungeon were mostly cleared out. Soon, Lin Moyu saw the dungeon entrance. It was a vortex similar to the novice dungeon, but much larger. The novice dungeon's vortex was at most half a meter in diameter. This West Sea Mine dungeon entrance was a full meter in diameter. A bloodthirsty aura continuously emanated from the vortex. People with weak nerves would feel fear just smelling this aura. Normal difficulty, 3-man team, need a healer. Normal difficulty, have mage and healer, need a knight. Elite team for mine dungeon, nightmare difficulty, have knight, mage, assassin, need healer and control support. Guaranteed clear nightmare difficulty team. Need knight and healer. 4 spots open. Many people were shouting at the dungeon entrance, looking for team members. Others stood in front of the entrance, seemingly discussing something. Lin Mo Yu approached the entrance with one skeleton warrior. He had recalled the other skeleton warriors. Even in the summoning space, the passive skill was still effective. Lin Mo Yu had no concern about his safety. Crack. Crack. The skeleton warrior made bone-grinding sounds as it walked. The sound was jarring to hear. The soul fire flickered in its skull, bringing gusts of cold wind, lowering the temperature by several degrees. The skeleton warrior's appearance was terrifying, causing widespread panic as Lin Mo Yu arrived. Many people retreated, automatically clearing a path for Lin Mo Yu. Lin Mo Yu reached the dungeon entrance and checked the dungeon information. It wasn't a true dungeon like the novice dungeon for new players to level up. The mine dungeon wasn't high level, only having normal and nightmare difficulties, no hell difficulty. Normal difficulty already had elite monsters, several times stronger than those outside. Nightmare difficulty had enhanced elite monsters, even more challenging. Normal difficulty usually required a 3-person team, a tank, a damage dealer, and a healer. Nightmare difficulty needed a 5-person team, requiring double support and double damage dealers. This showed the difference in difficulty. The skeleton warrior just stood beside Lin Mo Yu, motionless. Finally, someone gathered the courage to speak to Lin Mo Yu. "Young man, are you a summoner?" Lin Mo Yu didn't answer, ignoring them. Someone cast detection on him and his skeleton warrior. The skeleton warrior's hollow eye sockets suddenly glowed red, looking at the person who cast detection. This action startled the person, who hid like a turtle retreating into his shell. The detection failed, yielding no information. Lin Mo Yu was wearing the blocking badge Ning Yi gave him. Anyone not 10 levels higher than him couldn't get information through detection. Lin Mo Yu didn't let the skeleton warrior attack. It was just a detection spell, not worth retaliating. "Young man, want to run a dungeon together? We need another damage dealer." "You're a summoner, right? Summoners have good damage output too. Want to join us? We're an elite team, doing nightmare difficulty. If equipment drops, we'll split it evenly." Everyone seemed to realize Lin Mo Yu was extraordinary and invited him to join their teams. But Lin Mo Yu continued to ignore them. After checking the dungeon information, he chose nightmare difficulty. "Please confirm if you want to select nightmare difficulty." "Confirm." Lin Mo Yu was teleported into the dungeon. He entered the dungeon. He went alone. No way, he's soloing? That's too arrogant. We can't say that. What if he really has the ability? It's not like no one has soloed before. "Hey, the friend who used detection earlier, tell us the information you got. What level is he? What career?" "Yeah, his summon is undead. I've never seen that before." The person who used detection looked embarrassed. "I couldn't get any information. He must be wearing a blocking badge." "I see. Well, let's wait and see if he comes out alive. Maybe he's all show and no substance. Looks scary, but might be really weak." Outside the dungeon, many people had expressions and anticipation for a good show. Every year, quite a few people died in dungeons due to arrogantly trying to solo them. The mine dungeon was true to its name, with terrain just like a mine. The dungeon was filled with an oppressive atmosphere and a strong smell of blood. A huge iron door stood before Lin Mo Yu. Opening it would officially start the dungeon. Behind the door, a monster over 2 meters tall was roaring. It had already detected Lin Mo Yu. If Lin Mo Yu dared to open the door, it would rush out to tear him apart immediately. Chapter 23. Unamplified Skill, Knowledge, Blind Spot. Through the iron door, Lin Mo Yu cast detection. Goblin Mind Guard. Enhanced Elite Monster. Level 14. Strength 800. Agility 400. Spirit 200. Constitution 1000. Skill Stunning Attack. As expected of an enhanced elite monster, its attributes were several times higher than ordinary monsters. Extremely high strength and constitution, high attack and defense. A level 14 Knight class career would only have 300 to 400 constitution, far inferior to this enhanced elite monster. Without teamwork, it would be difficult to clear the Nightmare difficulty dungeon. However, these attributes were still far inferior to Lin Mo Yu's skeleton warriors. Lin Mo Yu released the skeleton warriors from his summoning space, instantly filling the room. Then he opened the door, officially starting his dungeon journey. The Goblin Mind Guard roared excitedly and charged out from behind the iron door. It was greeted by the skeleton warriors' great swords. Though larger than the skeleton warriors, it had low agility and intelligence. The skeleton warrior's blades immediately caused horrific wounds on its body. Even one-on-one with a skeleton warrior, it would surely die. Now it faced multiple skeleton warriors attacking simultaneously. At least 5 or 6 skeleton warriors surrounded it, slashing away. In just 2 seconds, it fell with a miserable cry. Killed level 14 Goblin Mind Guard. Experience, plus 4,200. Seeing the notification, Lin Mo Yu felt a flash of excitement. The experience was about 10 times higher than monsters of the same level outside. Killing one monster here was equivalent to killing 10 outside. And it only took 1 or 2 seconds, not much slower. This naturally sped up the leveling process. Lin Mo Yu felt he had found the right direction and immediately issued orders. The skeleton warriors charged into the dungeon passage with crackling sounds. Like an unstoppable army, they cut through everything in their path. Killed level 14 Goblin Mind Guard, plus 4,200. Obtained bones, 5. Killed level 14 Goblin Mind Guard. Experience, plus 4,200. Obtained fur, times 6. Messages kept appearing. Experience increased rapidly and materials accumulated. A detailed map of the dungeon quickly formed in Lin Mo Yu's mind. The mine dungeon was true to its name, a mine with many interconnected passages. All paths eventually led to the dungeon's end. Usually, other teams would choose one path to advance. Unlike Lin Mo Yu, who sent skeleton warriors down every passage, he didn't spare any monsters, killing all he could. Just 5 minutes after entering the dungeon, Lin Mo Yu was enveloped in the light of leveling up. Finally level 11. After leveling up, his spirit power fully recovered. Lin Mo Yu immediately summoned 4 more skeleton warriors to join the team. The number of skeleton warriors reached 56. Name Lin Mo Yu. Career Necromancer. Unique. Level 11. 0%. Strength 120. Agility 120. Spirit 40 out of 400. Constitution 120. Equipment none. Summoning space 56 out of 110. Skeleton warrior quantity 56. Talent full enhancement level 2. Unique. Passive skill, damage transfer. Active skills, Soulfire, level 11. Summon Skeleton Warrior, level 11. Corpse Explosion, level 1. Full enhancement, level 2. All skills effects increased by 20 times. Damage transfer. All damage received by the Necromancer is transferred to the summoned creatures. Soulfire, level 11. Burns the target's soul, causing scorching damage. Power depends on one's spirit and skill level. Summon Skeleton Warrior, level 11. Summons 1 bronze rank Skeleton Warrior. Corpse Explosion, level 1. Detonates a corpse, dealing 10% of the corpse's life value as damage to enemies within a 1 meter range. Checking his attributes, Lin Mo Yu noticed. After level 10, the basic attribute increase is larger. Strength, agility, and constitution used to increase by 10 points per level. Now it's 20 points. Spirit power increased by 100 points. As levels increase, future attributes increases will become larger. Lin Mo Yu understood this principle after checking. Skills improved again, with skeleton warriors 4 attributes reaching 3,400. Basic attributes increased by 20 points, amplified 20 times, resulting in a 400-point increase. All changes were mostly within expectations. Only the newly acquired Corpse Explosion skill remained at level 1, unchanged. Why is that? Lin Mo Yu was puzzled. Why did Soulfire and Summon Skeleton Warrior skills improve, but Corpse Explosion didn't change? He couldn't understand. This situation was outside his knowledge range, touching on a blind spot in his understanding. If Ningyi were here, she might know. Lin Mo Yu thought of Ningyi, the playful girl who could talk endlessly and knew much more than him. If she were here, he could ask her. Temporarily setting aside his confusion, he continued deeper into the dungeon. The mine dungeon had 8 passages, interconnected like a maze. However, all these passages eventually converged. Lin Mo Yu eventually distributed the skeleton warriors in each passage, not sparing a single monster. Experience increased rapidly, steadily pushing his level up. The efficiency was much higher than outside. When he emerged from the passages, all monsters inside had been completely cleared out. Level 11, 32.22%. Nearly 1/3 complete. It took just over half an hour. Very efficient. Chapter 24. Mind Wolf King, Elite Boss. After passing through the maze like mine tunnels, Lin Mo Yu entered the latter half of the dungeon. A massive corridor, about 1,000 meters long, stretched before him. On both sides of the corridor were rooms resembling prison cells. Large iron doors stood outside each room, making them look like a series of jails from afar. Beast cries constantly echoed through the huge corridor. The air was filled with a bloodthirsty aura and a foul stench. A massive monster blocked the path in the center. This monster looked like a cross between a wolf and a dog. Even lying down, it was over 1 meter tall. Standing up, it would be over 3 meters high. Its body length exceeded 5 meters. Lin Mo Yu cast detection on the monster. Mind Wolf King, Elite Boss. Level 15. Strength, 2,000. Agility, 2,000. Spirit, 1,000. Constitution, 2,500. Skill, Roar. This was Lin Mo Yu's first encounter with a boss-level monster, and an elite boss at that. Though its attributes were still inferior to the skeleton warriors, they far surpassed other minor monsters. If even a boss has attributes at this level, the final dungeon boss must be even more powerful, Lin Mo Yu thought. But it shouldn't exceed the skeleton warriors, otherwise no one could clear this dungeon. This level of difficulty was normal for a nightmare dungeon. Generally, those capable of clearing nightmare difficulties would be higher level than the dungeon itself. An elite 5-person team might average around level 17 or 18. They would also need decent equipment and skills. Otherwise, clearing a nightmare dungeon would be impossible. Someone like Lin Mo Yu soloing a nightmare level dungeon at level 10 was unprecedented in history. Affected by the detection spell, the Mind Wolf King awoke from its slumber. It slowly stood up, its massive wolf body over 5 meters tall. Lin Mo Yu and the skeleton warriors weren't even as tall as its legs. Its blood-red wolf eyes looked at Lin Moyu, emanating a bloodthirsty aura. A terrifying pressure swept over Lin Moyu. "Attack!" Lin Moyu commanded. 56 skeletons charged towards the Mind Wolf King like lightning. The Wolf King suddenly let out a roar, activating its skill. A powerful shockwave burst from its mouth. Over 30 skeleton warriors at the front were all blown away. The mine was trembling, raining down countless stone fragments. Even Lin Moyu, standing tens of meters away, felt the shockwave and looked surprised. This skill was an area of effect attack with a knockback effect. It was the first time he had seen the skeleton warriors get blown away. The skeleton warriors were thrown back, crashing into the ground and walls, looking somewhat disheveled. Lin Moyu showed no concern. He could sense that the skeleton warriors were merely knocked back. The actual damage was minimal. Their 3,400 constitution wasn't for show. The skeleton warriors' defense was already very powerful. They quickly got up and charged at the Mind Wolf King again. The slight cracks from the earlier attack rapidly disappeared, healing instantly. Their soul fires remained strong. "Use skills," Lin Moyu ordered. "Berserk Strike." The skeleton warriors that weren't blown away reached the Mind Wolf King, their glowing red blades slashing down. Blood splattered, flesh tore, and wounds deep enough to see bone appeared. The Wolf King howled in pain. Many skeleton warriors leaped high, landing on the Mind Wolf King's body, their glowing red blades activating skills. This scene closely resembled what Lin Moyu saw during his career transition. This is how the skeleton warriors had killed the giant dragon. The Mind Wolf King wasn't as large or powerful as a dragon. The skeleton warriors' attack power was even higher than its, each slash causing considerable damage. The Mind Wolf King rolled around frantically, its huge body repeatedly crashing into the mine walls, trying to shake off the skeleton warriors. The skeleton warriors' hands firmly gripped its flesh, hard to shake off. The skeleton warriors on the ground pursued relentlessly, their blades repeatedly striking its legs. Blades hit bone with metallic sounds, causing the Wolf King to howl in agony. Its claws swatted at the skeleton warriors, the massive impact force sending them flying. But the skeleton warriors weren't seriously injured and just quickly returned. When it tried to bite them, its teeth shattered instantly. The skeleton warriors' 3,400 constitution made them incredibly tough. What use is a large body? What's meant to die will die, Lin Moyu thought, watching the scene. While the huge body brought a stronger sense of pressure and immense strength, it also became its weakness. If its defense wasn't strong enough to withstand the skeleton warriors' attacks, the outcome was predictable. In just a few seconds, the Wolf King was on the brink of death. Roar! Another violent howl. The Mind Wolf King activated its skill a second time. This time, it used full power. The knockback effect of the roar skill was pushed to its limit. Under the shockwave, it finally shook off the skeleton warriors on its body. Even the nearby skeleton warriors were blown away. That skill's attack power is average, but the knockback effect is quite good, Lin Moyu thought, watching the skeleton warriors scatter like flower petals. His face remained expressionless. The skill looked powerful, but the skeleton warriors hadn't taken much damage. Sure enough, the skeleton warriors rolled as they hit the ground, then sprang back up and charged back, full of vigor. Suddenly, the Mind Wolf King turned and limped towards the corridor. Escaping? Lin Moyu thought. Chapter 25. Instant Kill. Currently the strongest area attack skill. Lin Moyu was slightly surprised, not expecting the dungeon boss to flee. The Mind Wolf King escaped into the corridor, howling continuously. As if responding to its calls, wolf howls echoed throughout the corridor. Something seemed off. Lin Moyu sensed a problem and didn't order the skeleton warriors to pursue. Instead, he had them retreat to his side. Creak. Creak. The iron doors on both sides of the corridor opened at the Wolf King's howls, and bloodthirsty, fierce wolves emerged. Mine Fierce Wolf. Level 14. Strength 600. Agility 600. Spirit 200. Constitution 1000. Skill Bite. Under detection, the wolves' information was clear. Their attributes weren't very strong, even weaker than the goblin mind guards in the tunnels. But there were too many, at least 100. The sight of so many fierce wolves charging together was enough to make one's scalp tingle. Lin Moyu wasn't afraid. Though numerous, the Mind Fierce wolves weren't strong enough to threaten his skeleton warriors. But he wondered how other teams dealt with these wolves. He didn't believe a team of just 5 career professionals could contend with so many wolves. Looking at the surroundings, he saw the mine tunnel behind and understood. The tunnel exit wasn't large, allowing only one person through at a time. So if a knight could hold the tunnel while a healer supported, and a mage used area attack skills, they could eventually clear the wolves, just taking more time. Lin Moyu's guess was correct. Other teams did exactly that. However, he didn't know what other teams wouldn't encounter so many fierce wolves. Usually there would only be about a dozen wolves. This was related to him clearing all the monsters in the mine tunnels. As it was Lin Moyu's first time in the mine dungeon, he wasn't aware of this mechanism. The books didn't contain this knowledge either. But even if he had known, he would still have cleared all the monsters. How could Lin Moyu pass up so much experience? As for difficulty, was there any difficulty for him? Since entering the dungeon, he had only given a few mental commands. He hadn't even broken a sweat. To him, these many mind-fierce wolves were just piles of experience. The skeleton warriors formed circles around Lin Moyu, protecting him firmly. The mind-fierce wolves charged in, clashing with the skeleton warriors. They were very ferocious, constantly biting and clawing at the skeleton warriors. Their claws were like knives, striking the skeleton warriors. Unfortunately, their attack power wasn't strong enough to cause significant damage. After all, the mind-fierce wolves had arrived. Lin Moyu directed 5 skeleton warriors to attack one wolf simultaneously. Blood and flesh flew. With 5 skeletons, each strike once, the wolf fell with a miserable cry in just 2 seconds. Killed level 14 mind-fierce wolf. Experience plus 2,800. Obtained wolf pelt times 3. Lin Moyu's lips curved into a beautiful arc, light glowing in his palm. Corpse explosion! With a huge boom, the mind-fierce wolf's corpse detonated. The damage was 10% of the wolf's life value. The explosion range was 1 meter, then amplified 20 times by his talent. Within a 20-meter radius of the corpse, all enemies suffered 200% of the corpse's life value as damage. This was equivalent to these wolves taking 200% of their own life value in damage. No wolf could withstand this. Instant kill. Undoubtedly an instant kill. Killed level 14 Mind Fierce Wolf. Experience plus 2,800. Obtained wolf pelt times 2. Killed level 14 Mind Fierce Wolf. Experience plus 2,800. Obtained bones times 3. Killed level 14 Mind Fierce Wolf. Experience plus 2,800. Obtained wolf pelt times 4. Instantly, notifications popped up like a bullet screen. Experience skyrocketed like a launching rocket. In the blink of an eye, his experience jumped from 32% to 72%. Obtained one attack gained 40% experience. The speed was astonishing. Lin Moyu was also secretly amazed. The corpse explosion skill was too strong. Terrifyingly so. Whether it could compare to Mage's forbidden spells or not, at least at this level, this skill was invincible. At this moment, the Mind Wolf King limped back, its eyes filled with terror. How had all its minions died in an instant? What was that explosion just now? With its intelligence, it couldn't understand. There were several mind-fierce wolf corpses at its feet. Equal treatment. You try it too. Lin Moyu said coldly, his palm flickering with light. Corpse explosion. Boom. 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 3 consecutive explosions as 3 corpses detonated simultaneously. A miserable howl rang out as the Mind Wolf King was covered in blood. Most of its body was stripped of flesh, leaving only white bones. In some places, even the bones were broken. Whimper. The Wolf King let out a final, mournful cry. Its huge body swayed several times before crashing to the ground. It had already been severely injured and couldn't withstand such intense damage. Killed level 15 Mind Wolf King. Experience plus 15,000. Obtained Wolf King Fang. Obtained a low-level monster crystal core. Only 15,000 experience. Not very cost-effective, Lin Moyu thought. For such a strong Mind Wolf King, 15,000 experience wasn't much, equivalent to just 5 mind-fierce wolves. However, for a boss-level monster, the focus wasn't on experience but on item drops. The Wolf King's Fang was a material for crafting weapons, fetching a high price at the exchange. Monster crystal cores could be used to craft jewelry and enhance attributes, also valuable. Crystal cores only dropped from boss-level monsters and above, and weren't guaranteed drops. This kept their prices consistently high. Chapter 26. Goblin King, a terrifying blow. Walking through the corridor, a nauseating stench assaulted Lin Moyu's senses. He couldn't help but cover his nose. The long 1,000-meter corridor was now empty, all iron doors open, and rooms vacant. All the fierce wolves had been eliminated, leaving no trace. At the end of the corridor, a massive mining pit appeared. The pit's diameter exceeded 1,000 meters, its deep pitch black and unfathomable. A spiral path led downwards, with numerous goblin-type monsters patrolling. They wore armor and wielded large swords, patrolling in pairs along the path. Goblin Elite Warrior, Enhanced Elite Monster. Level 15, Strength 900, Agility 800, Spirit 400, Constitution 900. Their attributes were far inferior to the boss, with none exceeding 1,000. Lin Moyu didn't even consider them a threat. With a wave of his hand, Lin Moyu's skeleton army charged into the mining pit. Faced with the flood of skeleton warriors, these enhanced elite monsters were powerless. They fell one after another. Kill level 15 Goblin Elite Warrior. Experience plus 4,500. Obtained Beast Bone times 6. Notifications kept popping up. Lin Moyu ordered free combat, quickly clearing the monsters in the pit. Though the enhanced elite monsters were strong, they provided abundant experience and materials. They were high-quality targets, much more cost-effective than ordinary monsters outside. In the future, soloing hell-level dungeons should yield even more experience. Lin Moyu thought. If anyone knew Lin Moyu's thoughts, they'd probably want to spit in his face. Throughout human history, no one had ever soloed a hell-level dungeon. Some exceptional individuals who soloed nightmare dungeons were already recorded in history books. Soloing a hell-level dungeon was simply a joke. Some had tried, but they all died, never to return. Lin Moyu descended the path, all monsters along the way already cleared. By the time he reached the pit's bottom, his experience was at 99%. He was just one step away from leveling up. Now only the final boss remained in the dungeon. Defeating it should get me to level 12, right? In just over an hour in the dungeon, he had gained more than one level. The efficiency far exceeded his expectations. At this rate, with a few runs of Nightmare difficulty, reaching level 16 or even 18 or 19 wouldn't be difficult. With sufficient level, entering Summer Capital University would be a certainty. Sister, we'll meet soon. Lin Moyu thought of Lin Mohan, a rare smile appearing on his face. The Mine Dungeon's final boss sat in the center, its huge mouth constantly inhaling and exhaling. Its breathing sounded like thunder, echoing through the vast cave. Each breath stirred up a gale. Lin Moyu could barely stand, steady in the wind. The boss seemed oblivious to this outside world. Its state was similar to meditation, but it was merely asleep. Lin Moyu cast detection. Goblin King, boss level monster. Level 16, strength 3000, agility 1500, spirit 1500, constitution 3000. Skills, flame breath, sweep, knockback. Its attributes weren't much higher than the Mine Wolf King's, just slightly stronger in strength and constitution. Lin Moyu even thought his skeleton warriors could fight it one-on-one. The detection spell woke it. It slowly opened its eyes and looked at Lin Moyu. With a roar, it leapt up. Wielding a giant sword, it brought it down towards Lin Moyu's head. The sword fell with terrifying pressure. But Lin Moyu didn't dodge. His gaze was incredibly calm, even carrying a hint of mockery. The seemingly terrifying blow stopped abruptly 10 centimeters from Lin Moyu. It was as if an invisible force prevented the sword from advancing further. Damage transfer. All attacks on Lin Moyu would be borne by his summons. Suddenly, Lin Moyu frowned. He sensed that all his skeleton warriors were injured. Soul fires of all skeleton warriors flickered violently, their glow dimming. Fine cracks appeared on their bones simultaneously. How is this possible? Lin Moyu was startled, confused. He rarely showed surprise. Even when the giant sword came at his face, he remained exceptionally calm, not even blinking. Last night, when he killed 3 people for the first time, he was equally calm. In his eyes, killing people was no different from killing monsters. It wasn't that he was cold-blooded. His sister, Lin Mohan, had told him to always remain calm, no matter what happened. In dangerous situation, only calmness could save one's life. He quickly retreated, while the skeleton warriors rushed to the Goblin King, protecting Lin Moyu. Berserk Strike. The skeleton warriors used their skills, powerful attacks landing on the Goblin King, causing massive damage. The Goblin King was instantly covered in wounds. Naturally, the Goblin King shifted its target to the skeleton warriors, attacking them. Lin Moyu retreated to the side, pondering what had just happened. The damage transfer effect was supposed to transfer damage he received to his summons. All summons would share the damage equally. He suddenly understood. The reason all skeleton warriors were injured simultaneously and suffered significant damage from what that blow was mainly due to his own weak attributes. With only 120 constitution, his defense was feeble. Facing the Goblin King with 3,000 strength, how much damage would he have taken? The transferred damage was based on his own attributes, ignoring the skeleton warrior's defense. All this damage was transferred to the skeleton warriors, causing them all to be injured. If that blow had landed directly on a skeleton warrior, the damage would likely have been much less. So I'm the only weakness, Lin Moyu realized. It seems I need to stack Constitution in the future. The stronger my defense, the stronger my summoned army will be. Chapter 27. One's Own Greatest Weakness. Lin Moyu finally understood now. In his skeleton army center around him, he himself was the biggest weakness. If a powerful enemy ignored the skeleton warriors and constantly attacked him instead, he would be in danger. Damage transfer wasn't omnipotent, after all. Now that he knew his weakness, Lin Moyu naturally thought of ways to compensate for it. The Goblin King was covered in wounds, blood raining down like droplets. It stood 6 to 7 meters tall, with skeleton warriors clinging to its shoulders, back, chest, and even head. The Goblin King's body suddenly glowed brilliantly. It leaped up and then crashed heavily to the ground. With a thunderous sound, all skeleton warriors on its body were sent flying. Even the skeleton warriors on the ground were pushed back. Skill! Knockback! Then the Goblin King's eyes glowed, and it opened its huge mouth to spew flames. The flames scorched the skeleton warriors. Lin Moyu sensed 4 of his skeleton warriors rapidly losing life force on the verge of death. With a thought, he immediately recalled these 4 skeleton warriors to his summoning space. The Goblin King continued breathing fire, preventing the skeleton warriors from approaching. I must interrupt his skill, Lin Moyu thought. A flame appeared in Lin Moyu's palm. Soul Fire. The flame silently landed on the Goblin King's head. The Goblin King let out an earth-shattering scream. Its flame breath immediately interrupted. Soul Fire ignored defense, directly causing spirit damage. Its attack power was determined by skill level and spirit power. Although Lin Moyu's spirit power was only 400 points, and his skill level was only level 11, after a 20-fold amplification, Soulfire's attack power was formidable. The skeleton warriors quickly surrounded it again, attacking relentlessly. Lin Moyu continued using Soulfire on the Goblin King, preventing it from using skills normally. A minute later, the Goblin King fell to the ground, unwilling to accept defeat. Killed Goblin King. Experience 40,000. Obtained bronze rank weapon, Goblin King's dagger. Obtained bronze rank armor, Robe of Knowledge. Obtained Goblin King's crystal core. As the notifications appeared, Lin Moyu was enveloped in the light of leveling up. He had finally reached level 12. Solo clearing a nightmare level dungeon in just over an hour had given him more than 1 level. The efficiency was very high. Lin Moyu examined his loot. Goblin King's dagger, bronze rank, strength plus 10, agility plus 10. Assassin's skill power increased by 3%. Usable after level 12. Robe of Knowledge, bronze rank armor, spirit plus 10, constitution plus 10. Reduces mage skill cooldown by 5%. Usable after level 12. The dagger was useless to Lin Moyu, so he put it away to sell later. My career is Necromancer, which should belong to the mage class, but my skills are different from other mages. other mages' skills, with no cooldown, so this seems useless. The plus 10 to Spirit and Constitution is still okay. After all, it was only level 12 equipment, so expectations couldn't be too high. Lin Moyu immediately put on the Robe of Knowledge, increasing his Spirit and Constitution by 10 points each. Besides the equipment, there was also the Goblin King's Crystal Core. The Goblin King's Crystal Core was larger and more beautiful than low-level monster cores. It was bright red like a ruby, and holding it in his palm, he could feel waves of warmth emanating from it. Clearly, this core was extraordinary. The core could be exchanged for 100,000 gold coins at the exchange. Lin Moyu felt a bit of pleasant surprise. The core was more valuable than both pieces of equipment. After leveling up, his spirit power was fully restored. Lin Moyu immediately summoned 4 more skeleton warriors. The summoned skeleton warrior skill had increased to level 12, requiring 110 spirit power to summon. Although he now had 510 spirit power, he could still only summon 4 at a time. The level 12 bronze skeleton warriors all had attributes as high as 3,800 points, and their number reached 60. They could freely roam this dungeon. In a good mood, Lin Moyu walked towards the dungeon exit. Lin Moyu suddenly appeared at the dungeon's entrance. His appearance immediately drew everyone's attention. The key point of interest was the skeleton warrior he brought with him. The skeleton warrior was too unique. Its cold, evil aura and terrifying appearance made timid people instinctively look away. He's out. I didn't expect him to come out alive. Could he really have soloed the dungeon? Those who can solo dungeons are rare. This kid looks too young. Wait, look at the robe he's wearing. Doesn't it look like the Robe of Knowledge? It really is the Robe of Knowledge. Unbelievable. A big shot who can solo dungeons is right before our eyes. Lin Moyu didn't care about others' discussions. The dungeon had entered cooldown time, requiring 12 hours before it could be entered again. After one dungeon run, he was no longer interested in grinding wild monsters. The experience was too little. Killing a dozen monsters outside wasn't even equivalent to killing one inside the dungeon. And having to search for monsters everywhere was too troublesome. The 12-hour cooldown time was perfect for meditating, to recover spirit power and summarizing what he had gained from this dungeon's run. Lin Moyu quietly walked to the side, found an empty spot, and sat down. A skeleton warrior faithfully stood beside him, guarding him. This dungeon run had extraordinary significance for him. Most importantly, it made him understand his own weakness. It also clarified the uses of his skills. Corpse Explosion, if used well, was an unparalleled area of attack skill. Soul Fire could interrupt enemy skills, and its defense-ignoring spirit attack was very powerful, even difficult for a nightmare-level boss to withstand. Lin Moyu summarized his experiences, reviewing his gains and losses. Chapter 28. Dynasty Guild, Goblin King Ring. Lin Moyu sat meditating with a skeleton warrior guarding him. Over 100 people were at the dungeon's entrance, but none had dared approach Lin Moyu. Mainly because Lin Moyu's skeleton warrior was too terrifying. One glance was enough to make people feel terrified. This was good, as no one would disturb him. Lin Moyu was waiting for the cooldown time to pass, so he could enter the dungeon again in 12 hours. His spirit power gradually recovered during meditation. By the next dungeon entry, he could summon 4 more skeleton warriors. As night fell, Lin Moyu ended his meditation. His spirit power almost fully recovered. Bonfires appeared at the dungeon's entrance, with many people roasting meat around them. The aroma of meat filled the air, becoming more intense with added seasonings. These people, experienced in the wilderness, were well prepared, unlike Lin Moyu, who only brought sweet potatoes when he left home. His stomach protested, and Lin Moyu reached for his sweet potatoes. Realizing they were gone, he remembered giving them all to Ning Yi. Thinking of Ning Yi's mischievous and cute demeanor, Lin Moyu's lips curled into a slight smile. He took out buns instead and started eating them one by one. "Brother, want to come over and eat with us?" Someone called out to Lin Moyu. They were roasting some unknown meat that smelled delicious. It was a young man in his early 20s. Judging by his attire, he seemed to be a support class. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly, politely declining the offer. The young man didn't insist and continued eating his roast meat. "Wang Yi, why did you call him over?" "Yeah, he's just a weirdo. He hasn't spoken since he arrived here. And that undead summon beside him is a bit scary." The young man named Wang Yi had a different view. "I think he's normal. Just doesn't like talking. Besides, look at him. Although he doesn't talk, he's never bothered anyone either. I think he's actually not as difficult to get along with as you think." Wang Yi cut a large piece of roasted meat into a plate and walked to Lin Moyu. "Brother, have some meat. You can't just eat buns." Lin Moyu looked at him but didn't speak. Wang Yi put on a friendly smile, placed the plate in front of Lin Moyu, and left. Under detection, the roasted meat showed no problems. Lin Moyu slowly picked up the meat and took a bite. The roasted meat tasted good, very fragrant. Nearby, Wang Yi raised a piece of meat towards Lin Moyu, his face bearing a sunny smile. At that moment, Lin Moyu felt his smile somewhat resembled Gao Yang's. After filling his stomach, Lin Moyu entered meditation again. With the skeleton warrior beside him, he didn't need to worry about safety. The 12-hour dungeon cooldown finally passed, and Lin Moyu's spirit power was fully restored. "This time I should be able to reach level 13, he thought. He stood up and saw the dungeon entrance crowded with people. Two groups seemed to be in confrontation. One group stood at the dungeon entrance, completely blocking it and preventing others from approaching. They wore uniform clothing and held fine weapons, looking like an army. The other group consisted of those who were originally outside the dungeon. Although greater in number, they looked disorganized and lacked the imposing presence of their opponents. "Your dynasty guild is too overbearing. Why won't you let us enter the dungeon?" "Yeah, why? The dungeon doesn't belong to you. Our entering the dungeon won't affect you." Many people raised protests. A mage with a staff stepped out from the Dynasty Guild. "Our vice guild leader is completing a task in the dungeon. Until he finishes, none of you can enter." "On what grounds? The Dynasty Guild is too domineering." The career professionals protested but didn't dare to take action, mainly because the Dynasty Guild was too strong, and they didn't dare provoke them. Wang Yi was among the protesters, his sunny smile gone, replaced by anger. Lin Moyu walked over to Wang Yi's side. "What's wrong?" Wang Yi was surprised to hear Lin Moyu speak. Amidst his surprise, Wang Yi whispered, "The Dynasty Guild vice leader is doing a task in the dungeon and won't let us in." Lin Moyu's eyes showed confusion. What task required sealing off the dungeon? Wang Yi noticed Lin Moyu's puzzlement and explained. "It's like this. They need the Goblin King's crystal core. The core has a low drop rate, only available in nightmare difficulty, and drops only once every 100 days. You must have seen this task at the exchange, right? It was actually posted by the Dynasty Guild, but no one has completed it yet. It's laughable, really. The Goblin King's crystal core is no ordinary core, worth at least 300,000 gold. They want to buy it for just 100,000. Who would sell that? Who would sell to them? Today marks exactly 100 days since the last drop. so the Dynasty Guild is taking action themselves. What a coincidence. The Goblin King's crystal core in Lin Moyu's storage space gleamed like a ruby. The Dynasty Guild would surely return empty-handed this time. Originally, Lin Moyu had planned to sell the Goblin King's crystal core for 100,000 gold coins when he returned in a few days. Now hearing Wang Yi's explanation, it was clear the Goblin King's crystal core was no ordinary item. "What's it for?" Lin Moyu asked softly. The Goblin King's crystal core can be processed by alchemists into the Goblin King ring. The Goblin King ring adds 10 to all attributes, increasing all skills by 1 level. Can be used at level 15 and is called the strongest accessory below level 40. Such powerful attributes were indeed impressive, especially the all skill increased by 1 level, which was godlike for novice career professionals. Wang Yi continued. It's said the Dynasty Guild's vice leader wants to apply for Summer Capital University, so he's determined to get this equipment. The Dynasty Guild doesn't lack alchemists, and they've prepared all other materials. Now they just need the Goblin King's crystal core. Understanding the situation, Lin Moyu smiled slightly and walked towards the dungeon entrance. He didn't care about the Dynasty Guild interfering with his leveling. Interfering with his leveling was unacceptable. Chapter 29. Move or Die. "Hey, where are you going? Come back. You can't mess with the Dynasty Guild. Come back. You'll die." Wang Yi was very nervous and tried to pull Lin Moyu back. Lin Moyu ignored them and stubbornly walked forward. The protesters suddenly stopped, all looking at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu approached the dungeon with a skeleton warrior, its bones creaking as it walked. "What are you doing?" The leader mage from the Dynasty Guild stared coldly at Lin Moyu. Behind him, over a dozen Dynasty Guild members turned to look at Lin Moyu. These people were all above level 20, each with an impressive aura. Knights, warriors, mages, archers, and support classes were all present. They formed a complete combat team. Moreover, their equipment was excellent, from weapons to armor to accessories, all bronze grade. This was why, despite the many protesters, no one dared to actually take action. They were inferior in levels, team composition, equipment, and skills. With less power, they could only protest verbally. Lin Moyu stopped in front of the mage and said calmly, "Move aside." The Dynasty Guild mage laughed as if hearing the funniest joke. "Young man, are you drunk? Go home." Lin Moyu continued, "Don't block me from entering the dungeon, or I'll kill you." Lin Moyu was serious. He wasn't joking at all. He needed to enter the dungeon to level up, which was crucial for his entry into Summer Capital University. If anyone dared to obstruct him, he would really kill them. The mage cast detection on Lin Moyu. Then he sneered. "Lin Moyu, just a level 12 kid daring to talk nonsense here. Didn't your parents teach you how to speak properly?" Death Necromancer. Never seen this career before. Is it new? An undead summon. Quite interesting. Since we're both mages, I'll let you off this time. Now scram. The opponent's level exceeded Lin Moyu's by more than 10, so the blocking badge didn't work. His words revealed Lin Moyu's level to everyone present. Only level 12, able to solo the dungeon at level 12. No, he might not even have been level 12 before. Someone realized that Lin Moyu's career might be extremely powerful. Lin Moyu also used detection in return. The mage wasn't wearing a blocking badge, so Lin Moyu saw his information. Zhao Ji, level 25, mage. Unlike Jia Sui, Zhao Sui's elemental mage, he was just an ordinary mage, a mid-tier career. Although he was level 25, Lin Moyu didn't take him seriously. Zhao Ji sneered, and the Dynasty Guild members behind him also showed mocking expressions. Little level 12 kid, you're not even fully grown. Go home and drink milk. This is no place for you. Be careful not to lose your little life. Just stick to killing wild monsters. The dungeon isn't for you yet. Behind Lin Moyu, the former protesters now said to him, Young man, come back quickly. The Dynasty Guild is unreasonable. They'll really kill you. Wang Yi shouted, Brother, come back. We'll enter the dungeon after they leave. Lin Moyu ignored all the voices, his tone growing colder. Last warning. Move aside or die. Zhao Ji felt a chill from Lin Moyu's words, involuntarily shuddering. Lin Moyu's gaze made his heart cold. What kind of look is this? It was as if in Lin Moyu's eyes he wasn't even human, but a monster. But in the next second he reacted. You brat, you're asking for death. If you dare take another step forward, I'll kill you. Lin Moyu looked at Zhao Ji, his lips twitching slightly. Kill. He casually uttered one word. The skeleton warrior charged out like lightning, appearing before the mage in an instant, raising its blade to strike. Zhao Ji looked amused, a pale blue energy shield appearing around him. A little level 12 kid. Even if I stand still and let you hit me, you can't break my energy shield. The skeleton warrior's blade fell on the energy shield, causing it to deform violently, almost to the point of shattering. At this, Zhao Ji's expression changed instantly. What kind of summon was this, with such powerful attacks? His energy shield could normally withstand at least 5 attacks from a warrior of the same level. But against this skeleton warrior, it would only break after the second hit at most. Skill, Lin Moyu thought. The skeleton warrior's blade suddenly burst with dazzling red light. Berserk strike. Zhao Ji was terrified. Who could have imagined this summon could also use skills? He sensed the threat of death. This skill would not only break his energy shield, but also kill him. Fire repulsion ring. Zhao Ji instantly cast the skill, a ring of fire exploding outward, pushing the skeleton warrior back several meters. The skeleton warrior's skill was interrupted. What were you all looking at? Attack! Zhao Ji felt like he had just escaped death, his face pale as he shouted. A knight responded using his charge skill, raising his shield and instantly rushing forward to crash into the skeleton warrior. Boom! With a scream, the knight was sent flying. The skeleton warrior didn't move an inch. In terms of strength, the skeleton warrior was far superior. Unless faced with skills like fire repulsion ring that had forced knockback effects, it came down to who was stronger. The skeleton warrior charged again, loyally executing Lin Moyu's order to kill Zhao Ji. Zhao Ji quickly retreated, reinforcing his protective shield while shouting, "Kill the summoner!" The best way to deal with a summoner was not to kill the summons, but to kill the summoner himself. Once the summoner died, the summons would naturally disappear. Bang! 2 archers fired simultaneously. The arrows split into 3 in mid-air, turning into streaks of light shooting towards Lin Moyu. "Watch out! Dodge, quickly!" People behind shouted loudly. But Lin Moyu didn't dodge or avoid, not even changing his expression. Chapter 30. How can there be so many? A black vortex appeared in front of Lin Moyu, and 2 skeleton warriors emerged simultaneously, blocking the incoming arrows on his left and right. The arrows hit the skeleton warriors with metallic sounds, causing no damage. Then the 2 skeleton warriors charged directly at the 2 archers. "He has more than one summon. Xiao Ji's face darkened considerably. He hadn't expected Lin Moyu to have multiple summons. However, some summoners have multiple summons was normal. Their guild had a summoner with 4 summons. "Block it!" Xiao Ji shouted. Knights and warriors immediately moved to shield him from the skeleton warriors. No longer in immediate danger, Xiao Ji raised his staff towards Lin Moyu, quickly chanting a spell. Killing the summoner was better than killing the summons. Fire snake dance. 2 seconds later, a fire snake flew from his staff, lunging at Lin Moyu. This is bad. That's a skill only level 20 mages can learn, and it's very rare. It's said to be the strongest attack skill before a mage's second job advancement. Lin Moyu is in trouble. I heard less than a third of mages can master this skill. People behind worried for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu remained motionless, another vortex appearing before him. This time, 20 skeleton warriors emerged simultaneously. 20 soul fires danced in the night. The fire snake dance hit them, exploding with a boom, creating a brilliant blaze. From the flames, 20 skeleton warriors charged out towards the Dynasty Guild members. Xiao Ji's face turned extremely ugly. How can there be so many? 3 skeleton warriors had been surprising enough, but now 20 had appeared at once. This number exceeded their own. Form up. Get in front. Get in formation. Prepare for battle. Xiao Ji, experienced, didn't panic. The Dynasty Guild, battle-hardened and experienced, quickly assembled. Knights at the front, warriors, archers, and mages in the center for damage output, and support in the rear. In Xiao Ji's eyes, although these summons were strong, his team was more complete. Killing the skeleton warriors would just take some time. The team of over a dozen people hurtled together. Support quickly applied buffs to everyone. Strength enhancement, agility enhancement, spirit enhancement, speed boost, energy shield, berserker's soul. Every possible buff was applied. In just 30 seconds, all buffs were complete. This demonstrated their excellent teamwork. Confidence returned to Xiao Ji's face. Although they were now surrounded by skeleton warriors, they had faced such situations before. He firmly believed they would have the last laugh. At this moment, Lin Moyu raised his hand and said to Wang Yi and the others behind him, "You all step back." At this point, no one dared disobey him. Who could have imagined that he alone could confront over a dozen Dynasty Guild members? Everyone immediately retreated, quickly distancing themselves by tens of meters. Xiao Ji noticed this, feeling puzzled but didn't think much of it. Suddenly he saw a flash of flame, followed by an archer's scream. The archer's life force plummeted, instantly nearing death. Immediately, a healing spell fell on the archer, quickly pulling him back from the brink of death. Lin Moyu had used soul fire, but failed to instantly kill the archer. The opponent's healer reacted quickly, immediately healing the archer. Xiao Ji broke out in a cold sweat, remembering Lin Moyu's career. Lin Moyu wasn't just a summoner, but a necromancer. Besides being a summoner, he was also a mage. Healers, be alert. Heal quickly. The opponent has magical attack abilities. Xiao Ji commanded loudly, making everybody in the team more tense. Who could have imagined that over a dozen of them would be surrounded by one person? Focus attacks on one target. Lin Moyu looked at the outermost knight blocking the skeleton warriors. This knight was in a dire situation, having to withstand attacks from over 10 skeleton warriors simultaneously. The pressure was greater than facing a nightmare difficulty dungeon boss. Although healing spells constantly fell on him, he still felt immense pain, feeling he could die at any moment. Following Lin Moyu's order, more blades fell on him. Then a flame appeared above his head. Out of survival instinct, the knight immediately activated ultimate defense. His body flickered with light, and the pressure instantly lessened. However, Soulfire ignored his defense and directly attacked his soul. Even with ultimate defense, he still screamed in agony. Fortunately, the healer reacted quickly, casting healing spells on him repeatedly. Under the continuous attack of skeleton warriors, the light of ultimate defense was rapidly fading. The ultimate defense, which should have lasted over 40 seconds, only held for 20 seconds. The moment ultimate defense disappeared, Lin Moyu issued a new command. Use skills. Simultaneously, he used Soulfire again. Soulfire took effect, causing the knight to scream incessantly. Over a dozen berserk strikes fell on the knight simultaneously. Even the healer couldn't heal him in time, and the knight was instantly killed. A gap opened in the formation. Xiaoji's face changed drastically. Retreat! Lin Moyu shook his head. It was too late. A skeleton warrior threw the knight's corpse into the air. Corpse explosion. A huge boom resounded. The knight's corpse was detonated. Exploding in midair maximized the power. Within a 20-meter radius centered on the knight, all enemies suffered 200% of the knight's life value as damage. Among all careers, knights had one of the highest life values. Damage based on his life value doubled was immensely powerful. Xiaoji only heard a boom, then nothing more. Total annihilation. Corpse explosion, like heavy thunder, destroyed everything. Only over a dozen mangled corpses remained on the ground. Not a single Dynasty Guild member survived. A large number of items scattered on the ground. Lin Moyu collected everything without even looking. Chapter 31. Destroying evidence? This place might be dangerous. Boom, boom, boom. Corpses were thrown into the air one after another. Explosions sounded non-stop. Lin Moyu detonated all the corpses. He truly destroyed all evidence. After finishing this, Lin Moyu entered the dungeon. The previously protesting group of individuals finally dared to approach. When the corpses exploded, the terrifying energy felt like knives scraping their bodies. Goodness, they're all dead. Really, not a single one left. Not just no one left, not even corpses remain. True destruction of evidence. He's ruthless, but doesn't talk much. This time, he's made an enemy of the Dynasty Guild. The Dynasty Guild won't let this go easily. What should we do? Wang Yi suddenly stepped toward and said, Everyone knowing the Dynasty Guild's character, they definitely won't let this go. If they catch us, whether we talk or not, our fate is sealed. I have a suggestion. Why don't we all leave now? Leave West Sea City, leave Jiangning Province, get away from the Dynasty Guild's sphere of influence. There are many places to level up, and the Dynasty Guild isn't omniscient. They might not find us. His suggestion was immediately accepted by everybody. As he said, the Dynasty Guild wasn't known for mercy. If caught, whether they talked or not, the outcome would be the same. Wang Yi cupped his hands. I'll take my leave first. May we meet again if fate allows. May we meet again. Stirred by his words, everyone retreated, and in the blink of an eye, the dungeon's entrance was empty. The fires went out, leaving only a slowly rotating black vortex at the West Sea Mine dungeon entrance, emitting a faint whooshing sound. Moonlight once again ruled the area. Half an hour later, several people teleported out of the dungeon. Wang Zihao's face showed slight disappointment. This dungeon's run still didn't yield the Goblin King's crystal core. The next dungeon entry would be in 12 hours. But he still had a chance. With a few days left before the big exam, he could enter the dungeon at least 4 more times. Huh? Where is everyone? Where is Xiao Ji and the other? Where did Xiao Ji and the others go? And where did all those individuals go? Something seems off. Xiao Ji disappeared. All the individuals are gone. What exactly happened? Those who accompanied Wang Zihao into the dungeon looked panicked. They were only level 17, far less experienced than Xiao Ji and his group. Now they could only rely on Wang Zihao. After all, he was the Dynasty Guild's vice leader. But Wang Zihao was also confused, his face full of question marks. After considering for a while, he said, "Fire a signal flare. If Xiao Ji is nearby, he'll surely respond." A signal flare rose into the sky, exploding to form a huge ball of light. It could be clearly seen within a 10-mile radius. Until the signal flare completely faded, there was no response, indicating Xiao Ji and his group were likely not here. Wang Zihao realized that during this time in the dungeon, something must have happened to Xiao Ji and the others. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left. Could Xiao Ji have been killed? With Xiao Ji's group's strength, they were dominant in this area. He didn't want to think in that direction. Even if they were killed, there should be traces left. But there's nothing here. Not only Xiao Ji is gone, but everyone else left too. Something must have happened here. There might be danger. Let's leave first and see if we can contact Xiao Ji when we get back. The atmosphere here was too eerie, so Wang Zihao decided to leave first. Lin Moyu was alone in the dungeon with 64 skeleton warriors charging through. His strategy was the same as before, and his experience rose rapidly. This time, the efficiency was even higher than before. In just an hour, Lin Moyu had reached the end of the dungeon. 64 skeleton warriors surrounded the Goblin King, unleashing a barrage of attacks. The sound of striking metal filled the air. Lin Moyu had learned from his previous experience. Whenever the Goblin King was about to use a skill, he interrupted with Soulfire. Soulfire was almost instantaneous, faster than the Goblin King's skills. In just 30 seconds, the mighty nightmare difficulty dungeon boss fell, dying in frustration. Killed Goblin King, experience plus 40,000. Obtained bronze grade weapon, Goblin King's spellbook. Obtained low level monster core. As expected, this time the Goblin King's crystal core didn't drop, replaced by a low level monster crystal core. The Goblin King's crystal core only dropped once every 100 days, highlighting its rarity. Lin Moyu thought that he got to Summer Capital University, he might find an alchemist to turn the Goblin King's crystal core into the Goblin King's ring. Such a boss accessory would be very useful for any career at any level. Lin Moyu checked the attributes of the Goblin King's spellbook. Goblin King's spellbook, bronze grade. Spirit, plus 10. Constitution, plus 10. Mage type skill power increased by 3%. Usable after level 12. Looking at the attributes, though not ideal, it was usable. Carrying a book seemed interesting too. The 3% increased in mage type skill power was somewhat useful for Soulfire and Corpse Explosion, but ineffective for skeleton warriors. Skeleton warriors didn't seem to be classified as mage type skills. The leveling up light hadn't completely faded. Lin Moyu reached level 13 at the same time he killed the Goblin King. The experience requirements are starting to increase. Next dungeon run probably won't get me to level 14. To reach level 15, I'll need 3 more runs. Calculating the time, I can run dungeons at most 5 more times, reaching level 16 at best. It's a bit less than expected, but level 16 should be enough to apply for Summer Capital University. Lin Moyu exited the dungeon. Outside the dungeon was eerily quiet. Everyone's gone? Lin Moyu thought for a moment and basically understood what had happened. Leaving was perhaps the best choice for those individuals. Looking around, he didn't linger either. He quickly melted into the darkness, disappearing from sight. Chapter 32. Has your brain been eaten by a mad dog? The warm sun rose, bringing a new day to the world. Finally, teams began arriving at the dungeon entrance again. Huh? Why is there no one here today? It used to be so lively. Strange. Where did everyone go? This team was puzzled, but didn't think too much about it. They chose normal difficulty and entered the dungeon. Gradually, more people arrived, and the dungeon's entrance became lively again. When the dungeon cool down ended, Lin Moyu returned and entered the dungeon. What a strange person. He's so cold, doesn't say a word. His summon looks cool, a bit scary, but really impressive. What's the use of being cool if he doesn't even talk to us? I saw him going alone. Seems he's going to solo. It's Lin Moyu. Xiao Sui spotted Lin Moyu entering the dungeon alone from afar. Lin Moyu's skeleton warrior was too conspicuous. She knew only Lin Moyu in the whole world had such a summon. Necromancer was a unique career, there wouldn't be a second one. Xiao Sui's gaze was complex. He's going to solo. She bit her lip. She had just reached level 10 today and came straight to the dungeon. Despite being only level 10 with her rare elemental mage career, she easily found a team. The West Sea Mine dungeon, being only level 14, wasn't particularly difficult, especially on normal difficulty. However, soloing was still not easy. She hadn't expected Lin Moyu to be able to solo already, once again surpassing her. Xiao Sui's eyes flashed with defiance. I won't lose to you. Just wait and see. Soon, she also found a team and entered the dungeon. Lin Moyu steamrolled through the nightmare difficulty dungeon. After yesterday's level up, he had 68 skeleton warriors. After 12 hours of meditation, his spirit power was fully restored. Upon entering the dungeon, he summoned 4 more skeleton warriors. Now, with a total of 72 skeleton warriors forming a massive army, his efficiency was even higher. Wherever the skeleton warriors went, nothing was left alive. Combined with Lin Moyu's familiarity with the dungeon, his progress was even faster. Just 45 minutes later, Lin Moyu met his old friend. Stop sleeping. Wake up. The Goblin King awoke to the skeleton warrior's blades. By the time it stood up, it had already lost most of its life. As fire emerged from its mouth, soul fire descended, interrupting its skill. In just 30 seconds, the Goblin King fell again, frustrated. Killed Goblin King. Experience plus 40,000. Obtained bronze grade weapon. Goblin King's longbow. Obtained low-level monster crystal core. Goblin King's longbow. Bronze grade. Strength plus 10. Agility plus 10. Bow type skill power increased by 3%. Usable after level 12. The drops were the same as before. Lin Moyu just glanced at them before storing them away. The Goblin King's eyes showed unwillingness and frustration. That look seemed as if it recognized Lin Moyu. Don't be so gloomy. I'll stop coming after a few more times. You're destined to be killed by someone anyway. Doesn't matter who. Besides, dying to me is quicker, less suffering. I don't really want to kill you, but I have no choice. I need to level 2. Lin Moyu spoke softly to the Goblin King, not caring if it understood. As he had predicted, he didn't level up this time. He was still 20% short of level 14. He would level up on the next run. Lin Moyu left the dungeon and quickly moved away, not lingering. In the afternoon, a group from the Dynasty Guild arrived at the dungeon. The Vice Guild leader Wang Zihao wasn't there, nor were the people who had entered the dungeon with him yesterday. The Dynasty Guild was here to enter the dungeon this time, but not to enter the dungeon this time, but to investigate yesterday's events. There was no news of Xiaoji, nor of the dozen people with him. The individuals present at the time had also disappeared without a trace, as if they had vanished into thin air. This time, the Dynasty Guild members were restrained and didn't do anything excessive. Even when questioning people, they were polite. After a series of inquiries, all they got were answers of ignorance, because everyone present had just arrived today and knew nothing about yesterday's events. They investigated for half a day without getting any results. Finally, they had to leave. Somehow, news of the Dynasty Guild blocking the dungeon spread, causing strong protests from many people. The Career Professionals Association issued a warning to the Dynasty Guild today. If they did this again, the consequences would be severe. Dungeons were a resource for all of humanity, not something a single guild could arbitrarily block. Not even for an hour, let alone a day or two. At the Dynasty Guild headquarters, Guild leader Wang Wei berated Wang Zihao harshly. How has your brain been eaten by a mad dog? How did you come up with the idea of blocking the dungeon? Do you think our Dynasty Guild can cover the sky with one hand? Do you think the Divine Summer Empire and the Career Professionals Association are just for show? If you want to die, go die alone. Don't drag the Dynasty Guild down with you. Don't go anywhere these days. Just stay in the guild. Your level is enough anyway. Just wait for the big exam. Wang Wei scolded Wang Zihao. Wang Zihao lowered his head silently, finally asking after a while, "What about Xiao Ji and the others?" "People have been sent to investigate. Don't worry about it. Whatever could make so many people disappear at once is beyond your ability to handle." Wang Wei waved his hand, dismissing him. Wang Zihao was already level 16, more than enough to apply for Summer Capital University. Even if he couldn't level up for these few days of confinement, it wouldn't make much difference. Chapter 33. Kiting Monsters. Mass Killing. Instant Boss Kill. At night, Lin Mo Yu entered the dungeon for the 4th time. This time, he had 76 skeleton warriors. After clearing the dungeon 3 times, he knew it like the back of his hand. Upon entering, a new idea occurred to him. I can try this. If it works, I can use it in other dungeons too. Thinking and acting, all skeleton warriors rushed into the mine tunnels like a tide. The skeleton warriors attracted many monsters in the tunnels, but didn't engage them, instead running non-stop towards the dungeon's depths. This created a peculiar scene in the dungeon. A mass of skeleton warriors ran in front, followed by a sea of goblin monsters. Behind the goblin monsters was Lin Mo Yu. Lin Mo Yu also ran, following the group, with a smile on his face. After the skeleton warriors reached bronze rank, their maximum defense from him reached to 1,000 meters. Maximum distance. He only needed to stay within this 1,000 meter range. Bringing nearly 100 monsters from the tunnels, they ran all the way to the Mine Wolf King's location. The skeleton warriors' arrival also awoke the Mine Wolf King. The Mine Wolf King began attacking the skeleton warriors, but they ignored it. After all the monsters behind caught up, under Lin Mo Yu's command, the skeleton warriors' movement area became smaller and smaller. The monsters' area also shrank, gathering them together. By now, Lin Mo Yu had appeared at the tunnel entrance. The skeleton warriors suddenly attacked, instantly killing one of the goblin mine guards. Then the corpse was thrown high into the air. Corpse explosion. Lin Mo Yu, who had been waiting for this moment, activated the skill, detonating the corpse. A huge boom resounded. The entire mine cave shook, countless rocks falling from the walls. Goblin mine guards fell in swaths. Where Lin Mo Yu stood, various notifications began flooding the screen. The notifications came too fast to read, and Lin Moyu had no time to look. Many new corpses were produced, and he continuously used corpse explosion 10 times in succession. 10 massive explosions, literally shaving off a layer of dungeon ground. This time, the Mind Wolf King didn't escape back to the tunnel, dying directly in the corpse explosion. At this point, the iron doors in the tunnel opened and many mind-fierce wolves ran out. Lin Moyu realized that these doors would open automatically, without needing the Mind Wolf King to run back and call them. Continue. Drag them all into the mine pit. At Lin Moyu's command, the skeleton warriors ran towards the mining pit again. What was in the mining pit? Besides some goblin monsters, only the Goblin King. The skeleton warriors dragged over 100 mind-fierce wolves forward unstoppably, with Lin Moyu following behind. He was now glowing with the light of leveling up. The wave of mass monster explosions had already brought him to level 14. And now it had only been 5 minutes since he entered the dungeon. This speed was too fast, almost unimaginable. The skeleton warriors ran down the mining pit's path, attracting all the monsters in the pit. By the time they reached the bottom, over 200 monsters were following. Goblin-type monsters and mind-fierce wolves were crowded together. The Goblin King gradually awoke, his eyes full of confusion. What was going on? I'm back again. Lin Moyu had also come down. The skeleton warriors stopped running and began to counterattack. Berserk Strike. Their blades glowing red as they used the skill. With a miserable cry, a mind-fierce wolf instantly died. The corpse flew up and exploded in midair. Corpse explosion. Boom. Boom. Continuous explosions nearly collapsed the mine cave. Experience points skyrocketed. Notifications came too fast to read. Large amounts of materials and items entered his inventory. The Goblin King, just awakened and not even standing up yet, fell with a boom after more than 10 consecutive corpse explosion attacks. This time was even more miserable than before, but also quicker. Even if there was pain, it only lasted a few seconds. Looking at the Goblin King's unwilling face, Lin Moyu sighed softly. I'll come 3 more times and then stop, implying the Goblin King would die 3 more times. You're used to dying anyway. People come to kill you every day. Goblin King killed Goblin King. Experience plus 40,000. Obtained bronze grade weapon, Goblin King's Staff. Obtained low-level monster crystal core. Goblin King's Staff, bronze grade. Spirit plus 10. Constitution plus 10. Mage type skill power increased by 3%. Usable after level 12. Checking his experience, he was at 60% of level 14. Next time he entered, he would reach level 15. After reaching level 15, the experience requirement would increase again. At least 2 to 3 times more. Calculating this time, I can enter at most 3 more times. Bearing any surprises, I could reach level 16. But it depends on the experience requirements after level 15. Outside the dungeon had returned to its usual liveliness. There were slightly fewer people than before, and it was a different group. Lin Moyu couldn't see a single familiar face. He overheard from others conversations that the Dynasty Guild had been here. Clearly, the Dynasty Guild hadn't obtained any useful information. This time, Lin Moyu didn't leave, but found a quiet place to meditate. He had added 4 more skeleton warriors, bringing the total to 76. Each skeleton warrior's 4 attributes had reached 4,600. Higher than the nightmare difficulty dungeon boss Goblin King. Their only weakness was that their skills weren't powerful enough. Unlike the Goblin King with its high damage fire breath skill, while meditating, Lin Moyu suddenly received information from a skeleton warrior. Someone was approaching. Chapter 34. Why can you ignore the cooldown time? What level are you now? Hearing the familiar voice, Lin Moyu opened his eyes to see Xiao Sui. Xiao Sui's delicate face had a smudge of dust and elemental energy still swirling around her body. She had clearly just finished battling and come out of the dungeon. She stared at Lin Moyu, her face full of defiance. Lin Moyu replied calmly, "Level 14. "What?" Xiao Sui cried out. "How can you level up so fast?" She had teamed up with others and ran the normal difficulty West Sea Mine Dungeon twice, leveling from 10 to 11. 2 consecutive dungeon runs had left her exhausted. Even if Lin Moyu could solo the dungeon, he shouldn't be able to level up this quickly. Xiao Sui couldn't possibly imagine that Lin Moyu was running the nightmare difficulty. Lin Moyu didn't respond further to Xiao Sui. Believe it or not, knowing Lin Moyu, Xiao Sui understood he wouldn't lie. If he said he was level 14, then he must be level 14. The defiance in Xiao Sui's eyes grew stronger. The higher the level, the slower the leveling. On the first day of the novice dungeon, she was level 5. Lin Moyu was level 7. A 2-level difference. Logically, the gap should have narrowed by now. Why was she only level 11 while Lin Moyu was level 14? Widening the gap instead? Xiao Sui snorted. "I won't admit defeat." She turned and left. Lin Moyu watched her, not knowing what to say. For years, he had always been a step ahead of Xiao Sui. Before the career transition, he was always first in all subjects, with Xiao Sui eternally second. After the transition, his levels rose steadily, again leaving Xiao Sui behind. Lin Moyu understood that Xiao Sui always felt unwilling to accept this and wanted to compete with him. This was true both before and after the career transition, but he had never given her a chance. Suddenly, he saw Xiao Sui enter the dungeon with a few others. Strange. Didn't she just come out? How can she enter again so quickly? Why isn't there a cooldown time for the dungeon? Lin Moyu witnessed something incredible. He had experienced that both normal and nightmare difficulties had cooldown times, and they were shared. After clearing nightmare difficulty, he couldn't enter normal difficulty for 12 hours either. But how could Xiao Sui enter a dungeon again so quickly? Lin Moyu was certain Xiao Sui had just come out of the dungeon. The battle aura on her was still present, not fully dissipated. And there was still the Goblin King's aura. This couldn't be faked. While meditating, Lin Moyu had his skeleton warriors observe. 2 hours later, Xiao Sui reappeared at the dungeon's entrance. She had completed another dungeon run. Coming out of the dungeon, Xiao Sui didn't forget to glance at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu saw fatigue in her expression. It was the kind of exhaustion caused by continuous fighting. Then, in just over 10 minutes, Xiao Sui found another team and entered the dungeon again. Lin Moyu noticed she seemed to use an item before entering the dungeon. There was a faint light flowing around her body at the time. Lin Moyu guessed it was this item that allowed Xiao Sui to ignore the dungeon cooldown time. If there's a chance, I can ask about it, Lin Moyu thought, returning to his meditation state. His spirit power gradually recovered. As his level increased, the spirit power attribute became more prominent. Now his base spirit power had reached 700, far exceeding his other attributes. This was characteristic of mage-type careers, having extremely high spirit power. The trade-off was extremely poor other attributes. There was no balance to speak of. Each career had its own characteristics, and Lin Moyu chose to accept this. Hours later, he heard slightly heavy footsteps. Xiao Sui, exhausted, sat down next to Lin Moyu. Even without cooldown time restrictions, she couldn't continuously run dungeons. Her body couldn't take it. I'm dead tired. Xiaosui collapsed on the ground, lacking any grace. She wasn't afraid of the skeleton warrior next to Lin Moyu at all. After all, Lin Moyu was her classmate. There was nothing to fear or worry about. After resting for a while and catching her breath, Xiaosui regained some energy. This young lady is already level 12. I'll catch up to you soon. At level 12, if running normal difficulty dungeon in a team, it would take at least 3 to 4 runs to level up once. Catching up to him would be very difficult. Lin Moyu looked at the exhausted Xiaosui. Aren't you tired? Xiaosui snorted. Tired? Of course I'm tired. This young lady doesn't even want to move a finger right now. Why? Xiaosui looked annoyed. Why? You have the nerve to ask me why? Being suppressed by you for so many years, this young lady must surpass you. Just because of that? Lin Moyu hadn't realized Xiaosui's resentment was so deep. If he had known, he might have let her take first place in an exam sometime. Xiaosui looked at the sky. Of course not just that. I want to apply for Summer Capital University. Aren't you applying too? So you should understand. To apply for Summer Capital University, one needed to be at least level 14, preferably 16, and ideally 16. With just over 2 days left, Lin Moyu thought Xiaosui could reach level 14 at most. Level 15 would be very difficult. Unless... Lin Moyu said softly, you should run nightmare difficulty dungeons. You'll level up faster that way. Are you joking? Elite teams aren't easy to find. Those elite teams want level 16 or 17 career professionals. I'm only level 12. No one wants me. Xiaosui rolled her eyes at Lin Moyu, as if saying, don't you understand at all? Looking at the elite teams calling for members at the dungeon entrance, they had requirements not only for level and career, but also for equipment. Unless you were a healer support, the requirement might be slightly lower. For damage dealers like Xiaosui, the requirements were actually the highest. Seeing Lin Moyu not speaking, Xiaosui continued. So this young lady will just run more normal difficulty dungeons. Level 14 should be no problem, and with some effort, level 15 might be possible. Listening to her words, Lin Moyu finally asked, why can you ignore the cooldown time? Chapter 35. I'll run the dungeon for you. You don't need to fight. Xiaosui looked surprised. You actually don't know? Then she suddenly giggled. You don't know. So there are things you don't know after all. Lin Moyu didn't speak, just quietly looking at Xiaosui. Is it really that funny? He wasn't an encyclopedia. There were many things he didn't know. Xiaosui seemed to have found something amusing, smiling mischievously. Say something nice and I'll tell you. Lin Moyu turned his head and closed his eyes. If she didn't want to say, then fine. Asking him to say something nice was impossible. Seeing Lin Moyu's reaction, Xiaosui lost interest. You're such a dummy. Can't even take a joke. People say mages have the most flexible and creative thinking, but you're so rigid. I really doubt you're a real mage. I'll just tell you, it's because I used a cooldown talisman. Lin Moyu searched his memory for information about cooldown talismans, but found no knowledge of them. He didn't even know what talismans were. They hadn't learned about this in school. Xiaosui said, cooldown talismans can cancel out the dungeon cooldown time, allowing you to enter dungeons repeatedly. She took out a palm-sized object and held it in front of Lin Moyu. This is it. The talisman looked like a gem, its surface shimmering with alluring light, covered in mysterious runes he couldn't understand. His fingertips glowed faintly. Under detection, Lin Moyu got the talisman's information. Junior cooldown talisman. Uses remaining 7 out of 10. Description. Can cancel dungeon cooldown time, effectively only for one dungeon below level 20. To think such a thing existed. Lin Moyu felt he was truly ignorant. Xiaosui said, I use this talisman to enter dungeons continuously. Now you understand, right? With this, he could run dungeons repeatedly, allowing his level to rise quickly. Lin Moyu asked softly, Is this expensive? Xiaosui replied, I'm not sure. My dad gave it to me to use. But it should be quite expensive. Judging by my dad's expression, he seemed a bit pained giving it to me. Xiaosui came from a wealthy family with very privileged conditions. The Jia family of West Sea was renowned throughout Jiangning province. If they considered it expensive, it must be quite valuable. After analyzing, Lin Moyu gave up the idea of getting a talisman for himself. Xiaosui said, We have 2 days left. I want to use all 7 dungeon reset chances. Plus my cooldown time. I could run at least 9 more dungeons. This way, I'm sure to reach level 15. God, this young lady will die of exhaustion. Xiaosui looked worried, finally showing some of the youthfulness appropriate for her age. No longer appearing as the haughty young miss, Lin Moyu thought for a moment. I can take you through the dungeon. Guarantee you'll reach level 15, and you won't need to fight. Xiaosui's eyes lit up. How could she forget? She had someone beside her who could solo dungeons. If she ran dungeons with Lin Moyu, she wouldn't need to do anything. And with 2 people in a team, they'd get more experience than 3. No exhaustion and more experience. This was a great opportunity. The only problem was that she wouldn't be able to catch up to his level this way. But even if she didn't run with him, could she catch up anyway? Xiaosui wasn't sure. After considering, Xiaosui made her decision. If she couldn't catch up in levels for now, so be it. The priority was ensuring she could enter Summer Capital University. After all, their career paths had just begun. The future was still far off. She'd catch up eventually. All right, I agree. You take me through the dungeon, and I'll share the talisman with you. Lin Moyu knew Xiaosui would agree. Anyone not too foolish wouldn't refuse. This way, he could also run more dungeons. Although he'd get less experience each time, with more runs, he'd actually gain more overall. It's a win-win situation. Xiaosui said, Let's not waste time. Let's enter the dungeon together. Lin Moyu didn't move. In 2 more hours, my cooldown time will end. With just 2 hours left, using a talisman reset chance wasn't worth it. Xiaosui wasn't stupid. She could calculate this clearly. All right, let's wait 2 hours then. This young lady will take a nap first. Wake me when it's time. She lay down and quickly fell asleep. Sleeping so unguarded in the wild was very dangerous. But Xiaosui slept peacefully because Lin Moyu was beside her. No matter how much she resented Lin Moyu, she knew his career well and could trust him completely. Xiaosui curled up, sleeping soundly with a smile on her face. Lin Moyu ordered the skeleton to guard them and continue meditating to recover his spirit power. 2 hours later, Lin Moyu's dungeon cooldown had ended. Wake up! Lin Moyu woke Xiaosui. Xiaosui opened her sleepy eyes. So quick. She got up, stretching, revealing her slender navel. At this moment, she freely displayed her beautiful figure. Xiaosui had a tall, shapely body standing at 1.7 meters, with curves in all the right places. She looked only slightly shorter than the 1-meter tall Lin Moyu. Standing side by side, they looked like a perfect match. Only the skeleton warrior beside them spoiled the scene a bit. After 2 hours of sleep, Xiaosui's energy had recovered significantly, and most of her fatigue had dissipated. They formed a team with Lin Moyu as the leader and approached the dungeon entrance together. Xiaosui used the junior cooldown talisman to remove her dungeon cooldown time. A faint light flowed on her body, and Xiaosui nodded to Lin Moyu. All right, let's go in. Lin Moyu opened the dungeon and then selected Nightmare difficulty. Xiaosui's face changed dramatically. Did you choose wrong? Before she finished speaking, they had already disappeared into the dungeon entrance. Chapter 36. This is what you call efficiency. The heavy, oppressive atmosphere made Jiaosui feel breathless. Seeing the terrifying monsters moving back and forth behind the large iron door, her long legs felt weak. Under detection, the attributes of the enhanced elite monsters were revealed. Both in attributes and appearance, they were worlds apart from the monsters in normal difficulty dungeons. Jiaosui looked at Lin Moyu in horror. This is nightmare difficulty. Did you choose wrong? Lin Moyu seemed unaware. No, I didn't. Didn't choose wrong. Could this guy be thinking of clearing a nightmare dungeon with just the two of us? Just looking at the monster's terrifying attributes made Jiaosui's teeth chatter. Are you crazy? We'll die, Jiaosui cried out. Lin Moyu didn't respond to her words, nor did he care about Jiaosui's current state of mind. Follow me when we run. What? Run where? Jiaosui couldn't react for a moment. That terrifying entrance elite monster had already set its sights on her. Jiaosui felt the fear of death. If she wasn't afraid of being laughed at by Lin Moyu, she would have fled the dungeon right then. Numerous skeleton warriors appeared in the room. While releasing the skeleton warriors, Lin Moyu was also summoning new ones. In the blink of an eye, 80 skeleton warriors filled most of the room. Then, under Jiaosui's terrified gaze, Lin Moyu opened the dungeon door. The skeleton warriors charged into the mine tunnels like an army on the march. Lin Moyu was already well practiced at this. The enhanced elite monsters behind the iron door chased after the skeleton warriors, quickly disappearing from sight. Follow me. Lin Moyu started running. Jiaosui was stunned. What was this? Could dungeons be played like this? Hurry up. Are you scared? Lin Moyu's voice came from the tunnel. Jiaosui stomped her foot. This young lady isn't afraid. I won't lose to you. Feeling defiant, she quickly caught up to Lin Moyu. A massive group of monsters advanced through the dungeon. Skeleton warriors ran at the front, followed by a strange number of enhanced elite monsters. Lin Moyu and Jiaosui were at the very back. Jiaosui asked while running, "What exactly are you doing?" Lin Moyu calmly replied, "Clearing the dungeon." His matter-of-fact answer left Jiaosui speechless. After running through the long mine tunnel, they saw the Mine Wolf King boss. The Nightmare difficulty Mine Wolf King was more than a full size larger than its normal difficulty counterpart. Jiaosui didn't need detection to know this creature was terrifyingly powerful. The skeleton warriors ran up to it. The Mine Wolf King continuously attacked the skeleton warriors, but they just kept running without fighting back. Why aren't they fighting back? Jiaosui was surprised at the skeleton warriors' toughness and found it strange. Lin Moyu commanded the skeleton warriors, "Almost there." When all the monsters behind caught up, several skeleton warriors suddenly used their skills. They instantly killed an enhanced elite monster. Then the corpse of that enhanced elite monster was thrown into the air. At the same time, Lin Moyu raised his hand. Corpse explosion. Air burst. A huge boom resounded, startling Jiaosui with its terrifying force. Experience increased rapidly with various notifications flooding in. Almost instantly, Jiaosui's experience increased by 30%. Jiaosui was dumbfounded. Could dungeons be cleared like this? What kind of operation was this? Boom. Boom. Several more huge explosions followed. The Mine Wolf King which had seemed so terrifying to her, fell to the ground with a mournful cry. It's dead. Killed so easily? She remembered when they faced the Mine Wolf King in normal difficulty with 3 people, each assigned specific tasks. Various tactics and strategies were meticulously planned before they dared to engage. It took over 20 minutes of intense battle to finally defeat it with great difficulty. Now in front of Lin Moyu, it was simply an instant kill. Zhao Sui's whole body went numb. She realized this wasn't normal difficulty, but nightmare difficulty. The same boss in nightmare difficulty was several times harder than its normal. Yet in front of Lin Moyu, it was instantly killed. A tingling sensation spread from her feet to her head, making Zhao Sui's entire body tremble as if electrified. Was this dungeon clearing? This was more like strolling through one's own backyard. Lin Moyu didn't notice her state and waved his hand. Let's go. The skeleton warriors had already run into the passage, heading down the mining pit. Zhao Sui finally snapped out of it and hurriedly followed. Have you been soloing nightmare difficulty dungeons all along? She struggled to ask this question. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, Zhao Sui would never have believed it. Who would have believed that someone could solo nightmare difficulty dungeons at just over level 10? Throughout history, no one had ever done this. Lin Moyu replied calmly. Yes. Zhao Sui continued. Since level 10? That's right. Getting a definitive answer from Lin Moyu. Zhao Sui finally understood why Lin Moyu could level up so quickly. When she had just left the novice dungeon, Lin Moyu had probably already started soloing the mine dungeon. And on nightmare difficulty at that. If not for the dungeon cooldown time, Lin Moyu might even be level 20 by now. This efficiency was incredible. From entering the dungeon until now, it had only been about 10 minutes. And they were already about to face the final boss. When she had teamed up with others to clear the normal difficulty, it took at least an hour to get this far. The massive Goblin King exuded a powerful, oppressive aura. Then the skeleton warriors, bringing a horde of monsters and fierce wolves, charged at it like a swarm of hornets. After more than 10 deafening explosions, everything returned to silence. The light of leveling up appeared around Lin Moyu. Chapter 37. A strange person, yet somewhat cute. Experiencing this scene for the second time, even the final boss was instantly killed. Zhao Sui was completely numb. She wondered if the Goblin King was Lin Moyu's son, just handing out experience. Since the leveling up light on Lin Moyu, she exclaimed, "You leveled up again? Level 15? Lin Moyu nodded, confirming he was indeed level 15. Zhao Sui's face fell. She was still 30% away from level 13. The gap between them had widened again. It was really frustrating. Killed Goblin King. Experience plus 25,000. Obtained bronze grade weapon, Goblin King's longsword. Obtained low-level monster crystal core. Seeing the notification, Zhao Sui sighed. Too bad it's not a staff. You want a staff? Lin Moyu asked. Zhao Sui nodded. Yes, the Goblin King's staff is the best weapon for mages before level 20. I could buy one at the exchange, but I'd have to ask my dad for money, and I don't want to do that. Suddenly, a dark object flew towards her. Zhao Sui instinctively caught it. Goblin King's staff. This was exactly the staff she wanted. It's yours, Lin Moyu said calmly. It was just a staff, nothing special to him. Zhao Sui was stunned, taking a while to say, thank you. Then she asked, puzzled, why don't you use it yourself? Lin Moyu took out the Goblin King's spellbook. I used this. Both spellbooks and staffs were mage weapons, but most mages chose staffs. After all, staffs looked impressive and could sometimes be used for blocking or simply physical attacks. Spellbooks didn't have these functions. Comparatively, staves were more practical. This was common knowledge, and Zhao Sui didn't understand, but staves are more practical than spellbooks. Lin Moyu shook his head. I don't like staves. This reason left Xiao Sui speechless. It was actually because of this. Come to think of it, she had never seen Lin Moyu take out a spellbook. Perhaps he doesn't care about the small boost from the spellbook, she thought. Lin Moyu, unaware of Xiao Sui's thoughts, was checking his level up attribute changes. Lin Moyu. Career, Necromancer, Unique. Level 15, 8%. Strength, 200. Agility, 200. Spirit, 800, plus 20. Constitution, 200, plus 20. Equipment. Goblin King's Spellbook. Robe of Knowledge. Summoning Space. 84 out of 150. Skeleton Warrior. Quantity. 84. Talent. Full Enhancement. Level 2. Unique. Passive Skill. Damage Transfer. Active Skills. Soulfire. Level 15. Summon Skeleton Warrior. Level 15. Corpse Explosion. Level 1. Finally reaching level 15 greatly increased his chances of entering Summer Capital University. Level 16 would be ideal, but even if he couldn't reach it, it shouldn't be a big problem. After reaching level 15, the experience gain slowed down again. Lin Moyu had expected to gain about 12% experience, but only got 8%. Although teaming up with Xiao Sui meant sharing some experience, it was indeed much slower. Lin Moyu calculated in his mind. Xiao Sui's junior cooldown talisman could let him run the dungeon 3 more times together. At this speed, 3 dungeon runs would take about half an hour. Then they would have 2 more natural cooldown opportunities, so they could run the dungeon 5 more times. Of course, he would bring Xiao Sui for the last 2 runs as well. Since he started with her, he wouldn't leave her behind later. Lin Moyu wouldn't do that. Running 5 times in a 2-person team should be enough for me to reach level 16. Looking at the falling Goblin King, Lin Moyu said softly, "Sorry, I might have to kill you 5 more times." Seeing Lin Moyu talk to the Goblin King, Xiao Sui found it strange. "Why are you talking to the boss? It can't understand you." Lin Moyu said quietly, "I just want to say it. Whether it understands or not isn't important." Xiao Sui was even more puzzled. Then why say it? Lin Moyu didn't answer Xiao Sui's question. For some reason, Xiao Sui thought of Lin Moyu apologizing to the boss and suddenly found him somewhat cute. Who would seriously apologize to a boss like that? Aren't dungeons meant to be farmed? Aren't bosses meant to be killed? Those high-level dungeon bosses, though killed countless times, have also killed countless career professionals. What's there to apologize for? What a strange person, yet somewhat cute. Xiao Sui suddenly laughed. Lin Moyu gave her an odd look. "Let's go out and continue." "Okay, let's continue." Chapter 38. If possible, aim for provisional top scholar. As they left the dungeon, Xiao Sui immediately used the junior cooldown talisman. After just a few seconds, they entered the Nightmare difficulty West Sea Mine dungeon again. On this second entry, Xiao Sui seemed like a different person. Running alongside Lin Moyu, she was in a state of excitement. The joy radiating from her face made Lin Moyu feel a bit strange. Was it really that exciting? It was just pulling a group of monsters and blowing them up. It was only a low-level dungeon, not worth getting so worked up about. Xiao Sui caught his odd look. Her young mistemperament flared up. "What are you looking at? Never seen a beautiful girl before?" Lin Moyu had seen her for several years. He had to admit she was indeed quite beautiful. He had compared Xiao Sui to Ning Yi in his mind. Both had their charms. Hard to say which was better. One was petite and cute. The other was tall and proud. Each had their own appeal. But Lin Moyu felt nothing about this. Ning Yi was his friend. Xiao Sui was his classmate. 10 minutes later, the mighty nightmare difficulty boss, the Goblin King, fell before Lin Moyu again. That unwilling look, that frustrated death. Lin Moyu said softly, 4 more times. They ran the dungeon 4 consecutive times, taking less than an hour in total. Xiao Sui used up all the talisman's charges. The talisman became dim and lifeless. It looked no different from any ordinary stone now. Only upon very close inspection could one faintly see some runes inside. Xiao Sui put away the cooldown talisman. The talisman needs to be recharged now. The cooldown talisman wasn't a one-time item. After using up all its charges, it needed to be recharged. However, according to Xiao Sui, the recharge process was very complex. It required a high-level alchemist to complete. As for how high level, she didn't know. After 4 consecutive dungeon runs, Xiao Sui had reached level 14 with 20% experience. 2 more runs would definitely get her to level 15. Lin Moyu was still at level 15, but his experience had reached 85%. After level 15, running the dungeon once as a duo only increased their experience by 26%. The efficiency had indeed slowed down several times. With a day and a half left before the big exam, they had time for 2 more dungeon runs. Xiao Sui was excited. If I can reach level 15 before the big exam, my entry into Summer Capital University is almost guaranteed. Lin, dummy, are you close to leveling up? Lin Moyu nodded. Almost. Xiao Sui temporarily stopped comparing herself to Lin Moyu. By then, you'll be level 16 and I'll be level 15. Our West Sea City might have 2 students enter Summer Capital University this year. Principal Liu will probably be grinning in his sleep. Having students enter Summer Capital University was a great honor for any high school principal. Everyone knew how difficult it was to enter Summer Capital University. Only geniuses could enter Summer Capital University. And only by entering Summer Capital University could one be called a top genius. Summer Capital University only admitted 1,000 students each year from the entire Divine Summer Empire. Many of these spots were taken by large families from big cities. People from small cities found it hard to compete with these family geniuses. Last year, when Lin Mohan entered Summer Capital University, Principal Liu celebrated for several days. Years ago, when Su Qiangxing entered Summer Capital University and became known as a genius, Principal Liu still mentioned it frequently. In short, entering Summer Capital University was a supreme honor. The two found a place to sit on the ground. With the cooldown talisman used up, they could only wait for the dungeon cooldown to end. Xiao Sui said, Lin, dummy, do you want to try for the top scholar position? Lin Moyu turned to look at her. Provincial top scholar? Mm-hmm, Xiao Sui said. If you can become the provincial top scholar, you'll get a lot of points. In Summer Capital University, points are very useful. Most importantly, you'll have a chance to join the Creation God ceremony, or academy. Lin Moyu remembered Ning Yi saying that in Summer Capital University, points were more useful than gold coins. And Ning Yi had also mentioned the Creation God Academy. Do you know about the Creation God Academy? Lin Moyu hoped to get some information about the Creation God Academy from Xiao Sui. Ning Yi had only mentioned it briefly without going into details. She had said he would naturally know when he got to Summer Capital University. Xiao Sui curled her legs. I'm not clear on the details either. I've just heard my dad mention it. The Creation God Academy should be the most powerful academy in our Divine Summer Empire. Summer Capital University admits geniuses and elites, but the Creation God Academy is for the cream of the crop among geniuses. Dad said it's very hard to get into, and I probably don't have a chance. But I think you have a chance. You could try. I heard Su Kyungzing Sr. got into Creation God Academy before, the only one from our West Sea city. Xiaosui looked at Lin Moyu with shining eyes, truly believing he had a chance. Lin Moyu had taken her through the nightmare difficulty dungeon in an unprecedented way. It completely refreshed her understanding. She could no longer use the knowledge she had learned to compare Lin Moyu's career. If there's a chance, I'll give it a try, Lin Moyu said softly. He was determined to go to Summer Capital University, where his sister Lin Mohan was. If there was a chance, he would also try for the Creation God Academy. Suddenly, Xiaosui's eyes lit up, pointing at the dungeon's entrance. Isn't that Gao Yang? Indeed, it was Gao Yang, at the dungeon entrance, seemingly looking for a team. Xiaosui cast detection on him and giggled. Who would have thought this big dummy is already level 11? Too bad he's a knight. It's not easy to find a team. Dungeon runs needed knights, and knights of a certain level. At level 11, knight couldn't tank monsters in the dungeon. Even for normal difficulty dungeons, at least a level 13 knight was needed. Sure enough, Gao Yang couldn't find a team after looking around, his face full of disappointment. Lin Moyu spoke up. Let's bring him along. Xiaosui giggled. I'm fine with that. Chapter 39. Gao Yang, a combination of annoying, shameless, and deserving of a beating. Xiaosui called Gao Yang over. Gao Yang's eyes darted quickly, revealing a meaningful smile. You two? Xiaosui said coldly, Shut your filthy mouth, or this young lady will tear you apart. Xiaosui's arrogance was well known. Only when alone with Lin Moyu would she restrain it a bit. After all, Lin Moyu was even colder. If she remained arrogant, the two wouldn't speak at all. Now facing Gao Yang, her young miss temperament was fully on display. Gao Yang was startled, scratching his head. Just a joke, don't take it seriously. Xiaosui said, Stop looking for a team. When our cooldown ends, we'll take you through the dungeon. You'll definitely reach level 12 before the big exam. Gao Yang let out an excited yell. Really? You two are my great benefactors. You don't know the school I want to enter requires level 12 to have a chance. You're such good people. Gao Yang's expression was extremely exaggerated. Xiaosui frowned. If you keep this up, we won't take you. Gao Yang immediately surrendered, suddenly becoming serious. Don't worry, Miss Jia. I'll behave. I'll do exactly as you say. What nonsense. Shut up. Xiaosui snorted, a fireball appearing in her palm. If Gao Yang dared say another word, she would definitely throw the fireball at his face. Gao Yang wisely shut up. I obey. Just wondering how long until your cooldown ends. Xiaosui calculated the time. About 10 hours. 10 hours was a bit long, but Gao Yang knew he might not find a team in 10 hours anyway. All right, you two rest and chat. I'll go kill some wild monsters. Good luck, Lin Moyu. I'm rooting for you. You'll win Xiaosui over sooner or later. With that, he ran off. Xiaosui angrily stomped her foot and threw a fireball. With a boom, the fireball exploded behind Gao Yang, some sparks landing on him. Ow, ow, ow! Gao Yang yelped in pain, covering his backside and disappearing in the blink of an eye. Xiaosui stomped her foot angrily. That guy, his mouth is too foul. He deserves a beating. Lin Moyu deeply agreed, but he had to admit Gao Yang was a good person. When others distanced themselves from him, only Gao Yang actively came to talk to him. Even though Lin Moyu rarely responded, Gao Yang never showed disgust. Lin Moyu trusted his feelings weren't wrong. Gao Yang was a sincere goofball. 10 hours later, Gao Yang joined the team. Lin Moyu, as the leader, entered the Nightmare difficulty dungeon. Upon entering, Gao Yang was the first to collapse in fear. Hey, Miss Jia, Boss Lin, why did you enter nightmare difficulty? Xiaosui snorted. Stop talking nonsense. Just follow behind. You don't need to fight anyway. Huh? Gao Yang showed confusion, panic, fear, and various other expressions. Xiaosui wondered if she had been like this her first time. She seemed to remember being quite scared, too. For the sake of his life, Gao Yang stuck close to Xiaosui, not daring to stray a step. This was nightmare difficulty. One hit from a monster here would end his life. 10 minutes later, Gao Yang stared at the dead boss, still unable to close his mouth. It's dead already? Xiaosui looked at him. Can you close your mouth? You're drooling. Gao Yang wiped his mouth corner, then suddenly hugged Lin Moyu's leg. Boss Lin, can you take me along with you to run dungeons in the future? I'll be your accessory. Xiaosui sighed. How can you be so spineless? You're a knight. Can't you have some knightly spirit? Gao Yang cried out. What use is knightly spirit? With boss here, who needs knights? Xiaosui gave up on him, choosing to ignore him. A faint white light flickered around Lin Moyu. He had completed his level up. At level 16, he was fully confident of entering Summer Capital University. One more dungeon run and Xiaosui would reach level 15, also having a good chance of entering Summer Capital University. As for Gao Yang, his goal was the provisional Jiangning University. It was also a good higher educational institution, with lower requirements than Summer Capital University. A level 12 knight was qualified enough. As the sun set, casting long shadows on everything, on the south city wall of West Sea City, several principals stood together, looking at the wild area outside the city wall. The children should be coming back now. Tomorrow is the big exam day. We told them all to return today. Wonder how the big exam results will be tomorrow. Most should be fine. It's just a matter of which school they get into. Old Lou, I hear those two geniuses from your school are both aiming for Summer Capital University. Principal Lou stared into the distance without blinking. Yes, both Mo Yu and Jia Sui want to enter Summer Capital University. Summer Capital University is the most competitive. By past standards, level 15 gives a good chance. Level 16 is almost guaranteed. It's tough. Level 15 still has hope. Level 16 is as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. In our West Sea City, besides Su Qiangxing, only Lin Mohan reached level 16 last year, right? Wonder if these two youngsters have a chance this year. Principal Lu nodded. Let's believe in them. Lin Moyu and Xiaosui on the border of Lin Mohan, and one the brother of Lin Mohan, the other the daughter of the Jia family. Principal Lu felt these two might both create miracles. Finally, someone appeared in their sight. One principal said, "It's one of our third high students." Under detection, the person's level was clear. Zhu Shen, level 12, sword fighter. The principal was satisfied. Level 12 was enough to enter a good higher education institution. Zhu Zhen was somewhat famous in third high, considered one of their geniuses. Our second high student, Wang Ming, is back too. Wang Ming, level 13, Eagle Eye Archer. As students returned one by one, the principals continuously used detection on the city wall. Every year at this time, it was also a pre-exam competition among the principals, a face-saving contest. Chapter 40, Teleporting to the Provincial Capital. The big exam begins. Students returned one by one, with principals experiencing wins and losses. So far, no one had a clear advantage. The returning students were mostly between levels 10 and 13. Not even one level 14 student had appeared. Why haven't Jia Sui, Lin Mo Yu, and Gao Yang returned yet? As it grew darker, Principal Lu became anxious. His expression turned serious. By all accounts, those three should have returned by now. Could something have happened? Finally, just before nightfall, Principal Lu saw three figures. They're here! They're finally back! Principal Lu's face immediately broke into a smile. The results wasn't important as long as they returned safely. That was enough. Detection spells flew out like a gentle breeze. Gao Yang, level 12, Sword and Shield Knight. Jia Sui, level 15, Elemental Mage. The principal's faces showed surprise. She really did it. Jia Sui really reached level 15. This gave her at least an 80% chance of entering Summer Capital University. No, as long as she performed well in the exam, she was almost certain to get in. Finally, Lin Mo Yu. The principals were all second transition professionals above level 40, far surpassing Lin Mo Yu's level. So the blocking badge was ineffective against them. Lin Mo Yu, level 16, Necromancer. The principals drew in sharp breaths. Lin Mo Yu had really reached level 16, even one higher level than Jia Sui. This speed was simply too fast. They must have been running dungeons. The sword and shield in Gao Yang's hands and the staff in Jia Sui's is holding are all Goblin King weapons. But the weapon drop rate is very low. It's not easy to collect all the corresponding weapons and equipment. Maybe they were just lucky. When Lin Mo Yu and the others reached the city wall, Principal Lu said, "After you enter the city, wait on the bus. When everyone's here, we'll return to the school together." All three heard Principal Lu's words, but only Gao Yang responded loudly, "Yes, Principal." Principal Lu chuckled. He was in a good mood. He had won this return competition among the principals. And this time, Lin Mo Yu and Jia Sui might both enter Summer Capital University, which would be very honorable for West Sea City and First High School. As the principal, he felt proud. After all, the students returned. Principal Lu also got on the bus. Actually, the students' safe return is the greatest comfort for a teacher. Everyone rest well tonight. Tomorrow morning, gather at the school and we'll head to the exam site. The exam site wasn't at the school nor in West Sea City. It was in the provincial capital, Jianghai City. West Sea City and Jianghai City differed by just one character. West Sea City was just an unremarkable medium-sized city in Jiangning province. Jianghai City was the provincial capital, a true large city. The big exam was held in Jianghai City every year. Examiners from the Divine Summer Empire would conduct the unified exam. That night, Lin Mo Yu continued his meditation. He followed his own thoughts and didn't particularly focus on the big exam. He was confident he would enter Summer Capital University. If there was a chance, he would also try for the provincial top scholar position. Previously, he didn't have much pursuit of this. He just wanted to simply enter Summer Capital University. But after hearing what Ningyi and Jia Sui said, he became a bit interested in the Creation God Academy. Early the next morning, Lin Mo Yu woke up on time. His spirit power was fully recovered and he was in peak condition. A full 100 skeleton warriors waited quietly in his summoning space, ready to be summoned at any time. Each bronze-ranked skeleton warrior, after the 20-fold amplification, had attributes as high as 5,000. Along his soulfire and corpse explosion skills, Lin Mo Yu felt confident and at ease. Arriving at the school playground, many classmates were already there. Gao Yang waved vigorously at Lin Mo Yu. "Boss Lin!" Lin Mo Yu walked over and nodded slightly to Gao Yang, which counted as a greeting. Although Lin Mo Yu was always first, his personality made him unpopular among classmates. Moreover, his necromancer career made some classmates afraid of him. A moment later, Xiao Sui arrived. Xiao Sui was more popular than Lin Mo Yu, with classmates gathering around her. However, contrary to her usual behavior, Xiao Sui came to Lin Mo Yu's side. "Are you confident?" Lin Mo Yu nodded slightly in response. Xiao Sui slightly smiled brightly. "Then I'll see you at Summer Capital University." "Okay," Lin Mo Yu said softly. After everyone arrived, Principal Lu came over. "Here are the teleportation stones for the exam site, one for each person. In a moment, you can either crush the teleportation stone or activate it with spirit power. The teleportation stone will take you to the exam site. Let me emphasize one last time. During the exam process, your first priority is to ensure your own safety. Safety first. All right, you can start teleporting now." The students activated the teleportation stones one by one, disappearing in flashes of light. After everyone left, Principal Lu also activated his teleportation stone to go to the exam site in Jianghai City. The exam site was extremely spacious, like a giant plaza. Examinees from over a dozen cities, large and small, in Jiangning province teleported in successively. From over a dozen cities, there were thousands of people taking this exam. The teleportation lights never stopped. The examinees from West Sea City were all placed in the same area. After a full half hour, the teleportation lights finally stopped. Under the gaze of thousands of eyes, a tall tower descended from the sky. "The trial tower is open!" A majestic voice resounded throughout the plaza. The doors of the tower's first floor slowly opened with a rumbling sound. "All examinees, please listen carefully to the exam rules. No speaking, no questions. Violators will be immediately disqualified from the exam." Chapter 41. First stage of the exam. Instant kill. No questions allowed, but what if we don't understand? A few people muttered quietly. Suddenly, beams of light shot from the trial tower, hitting these few people. They instantly disappeared. The authoritative voice then said, "Rule violation. Disqualified from the exam." Whoosh. Thousands of examinees' faces changed quickly, covering their mouths. The rules were this strict. Even barely audible muttering wasn't allowed. At this moment, the entire place fell silent. So quiet you could hear a pin drop. Even breathing became cautious. After years of preparation, being eliminated at the last moment would be too much to bear. Lin Mo Yu remembered Principal Lu repeatedly telling them, during the exam, they must strictly follow the exam rules. The exam rules were very strict. Absolutely no violations allowed. Not even the slightest. He could naturally do this and glanced at Gao Yang. He was worried Gao Yang might not manage. Not letting him speak was probably worse than killing him. Sure enough, Gao Yang was forcefully covering his own mouth. He was also afraid he couldn't control his mouth. This guy at least has some self-awareness. Lin Mo Yu inwardly smiled, no longer needing to worry about Gao Yang. The authoritative voice spoke again. "The tower trial arranges different exam scenarios for different careers. Support careers will have non-combat scenarios. Combat careers will have combat scenarios. After passing the basic exam, each career will get to choose difficulty levels. Different difficulties and performances will earn different points. Points are both your exam scores and points you can take to higher education institutions. In higher education institutions, points are more valuable than gold coins. Lastly, about exam rules. You can use your carried equipment normally. Besides that, no items can be used. If found, immediate disqualification. After entering the trial tower, your storage space will be sealed. The voice detailed the exam rules. With normal intelligence, there shouldn't be any misunderstanding. Those who muttered at the start were just talkative, bringing trouble on themselves. Now, all examinees, line up to enter the tower. Everyone queued to enter the tower. The order was very good. Everyone followed the rules. Even those usually pampered young masters and misses at home didn't dare misbehave now. The big exam was the Divine Summer Empire's most important annual exam. It wasn't just in Jiangning province, but synchronized across all major provinces worldwide. Over 100,000 people would take the exam on this day. The Empire's top officials were watching this exam. Anyone who dared misbehave was courting death. Wang Zihao was also in the crowd. As the Dynasty Guild's vice leader, he was usually arrogant. When had he ever queued obediently? But today, he didn't dare misbehave at all. Lin Moyu followed the queue into the tower. He had removed his blocking badge before departing. Upon entering the tower, a light shone on him when he was teleported to an independent space. As he guessed, the trial tower was like a dungeon, sending entrance to different spaces. At the tower's top stood several middle-aged people with solemn expressions and powerful auras. They wore support, warrior, and mage attire, representing various careers. None were below level 70. They were the examiners for Jiangning Province's big exam. Lin Moyu, level 16. Necromancer? Lin Moyu's image appeared before them. This is the new career reported by West Sea City's first high school. It's been a while since we've seen a new career. The last one was over 30 years ago, right? Yes. Over 30 years ago, a new career called Elf Emissary appeared, a control-type combat career, classified as rare. Necromancer from First High's report should be a summoning-type mage. Let's see how strong his new career is. Hope it doesn't disappoint. It shouldn't be bad, at least not weaker than rare careers, otherwise reaching level 16 would be impossible. Let's process it according to rare grade mage rules for now, and keep records. After discussing, they determined Lin Moyu's exam method. A monster appeared before Lin Moyu. This monster had a wolf's head, but wore a mage's robe. It even held a staff. It was a mage-type monster, but its strength was unknown. A light barrier separated Lin Moyu from this mage monster. Detection couldn't penetrate this barrier. Lin Moyu couldn't get the mage monster's information for now. Exam task: kill the wolf beastman mage. No more information was given. A countdown appeared on the light barrier. Lin Moyu prepared. A skeleton warrior appeared beside him. 3, 2, 1. As the barrier disappeared, the skeleton warrior charged at the wolf beastman mage, but Lin Moyu's soul fire was even faster. It landed on the wolf beastman mage's head almost as the barrier vanished. The wolf beastman mage fell with a scream. Dead? Lin Moyu was speechless. His strength was too low. At the tower's top, the examiners looked shocked. What skill is this? Instant kill? How can it be an instant kill? Is there a problem with the data? Was it set up wrong? The setup is correct. Set for a rare grade career. The monster level is 2 levels higher than the career professional. Different levels and combat careers faced different monsters. Rare career professionals faced monsters 2 levels higher than themselves. High-grade career professionals faced monsters 1 level higher. Other career professionals faced monsters of the same level. Mages faced monsters, warriors faced warrior monsters. The types matched. Although all could win, instant kills like Lin Moyu's were unprecedented. Chapter 42. A godly result of 0.1 seconds. The test was actually examining the combat techniques of career professionals. Although the level was a bit higher, it shouldn't be a problem for qualified professionals. This setup had been used for many years without issues. Battles usually lasted from 10 seconds to half a minute. This could show the professional's combat ability. But a problem occurred with Lin Moyu. An instant kill. How could they judge combat technique from this? What should we do? An examiner asked. Everyone looked at the middle-aged man in mage robes. He was in charge of mage-class exams. But now he wasn't sure too. The intended effect wasn't achieved, which was troublesome. At this moment, an elder appeared in the room. Lord Ning, why are you here? The examiners immediately bowed to the newcomer. Ning Xuanfeng said solemnly, I heard there's a new career professional this year, so I came to take a look. Lin Moyu's image appeared on the light screen. Ning Xuanfeng looked at it. He seemed like a good young man. The examiners quickly explained what had just happened. After listening, Ning Xuanfeng said, You all want to know how strong this new necromancer career is. The rare career professional setting can't measure its strength. So let's use the legendary career professional setting for a second test on him. An examiner objected, but that's not fair to him, and how should we calculate the points? Ning Xuanfeng smiled. This situation has happened before. There have been career professionals who instantly killed monsters before. Let's make an exception this time. First, declare him the top scorer of the exam. Give him 100 points. For the second test, if he passes, give him an extra 1,000 points. I can personally provide these 1,000 points. The examiners quickly said, Lord Ning, you jest. How could we let you provide the points? That's right, we have points. Let's do this as you say and add a second test. Lin Moyu waited for a moment and another light barrier appeared before him. Another monster appeared on the other side of the barrier. It looked identical to the previous one, but its aura was much stronger. Please proceed with the second test. Examinee. Defeat the monster before you. Lin Moyu wasn't surprised by the second test. He thought this might be the normal procedure. He had no idea he was being treated differently. As soon as the barrier disappeared, he activated Soul Fire. The mage monster instantly died with a scream. Just like before, another instant kill. The examiners were shocked again. They still couldn't see anything. The legendary career level monster was 4 levels higher than the professional. The mage monster Lin Moyu just killed was set as a level 20 monster. Yet it was still instantly killed. This skill, it's too powerful for the future. Does he have some powerful equipment? He's only level 16. What powerful equipment could he have? It's just purely a strong skill. What should we do? Continue testing? Everyone looked at Ning Xuanfeng. Since his arrival, he had been in charge. Ning Xuanfeng shook his head. No need. Proceed to the second round of exams. But by now, everyone had finished the first round of exams. The authoritative voice echoed. Combat class examinees. First round of exams concluded. 632 participants. 522 qualified. Now announcing results. A ranking appeared before everyone's eyes. Lin Moyu, 0.1 seconds. Points, 100. Zhuao Zhuo Mei, 3.2 seconds. Points, 70. Jia Shui, 5.2 seconds. Points, 40. Lin Moyu was clearly ranked first, taking only 0.1 seconds. Second place was Zhuo Mei, taking 3.2 seconds. Xiao Sui ranked third, making 5.2 seconds. Dynasty Guild's vice leader Wang Zihao ranked fourth, taking 5.5 seconds. The top three received 100, 70, and 40 points respectively. From fourth place on, everyone received 10 points. Seeing this ranking and time, Wang Zihao was furious. How could I not even make the top three? First place should be mine. 0.1 seconds? That's a joke. There must be a mistake. This result is godly. Not just Wang Zihao, but many people found Lin Moyu's result unbelievable. Xiao Sui looked at the ranking. Lin Dummy is so amazing. I won't admit defeat. Gao Yang's expression was exaggerated. Boss is truly the boss. Too awesome. Can't help but admire. Lin Moyu unconsciously rubbed his nose. Did I go too far? He hadn't expected this seemingly easy first round to eliminate over 100 people. The authoritative voice sounded again. Combat class second round exam will begin soon. Examinees may choose their difficulty. Note: injuries or death may occur in the second round. Please choose according to your ability. If you encounter danger during the exam, you can shout to give up. Your exam will end, and your score will be based on your progress at that point. The requirements for the second round were repeated. The second round was like a dungeon with normal, nightmare, and hell difficulties. Different difficulties gave different points for killing monsters. Normal difficulty gave 1 point per monster, nightmare 3 points, and hell 5 points. The time limit was 30 minutes for all. The second round compared who could kill more monsters in 30 minutes. Chapter 43. Lin Moyu's side is too boring. Wang Zihao chose hell difficulty without hesitation. In his view, killing one monster on hell difficulty was equivalent to killing 5 on normal. Moreover, he had extreme confidence in his combat power. Kid who got first place, even if you won the first round, don't think you'll beat me in the second. Wang Zihao gripped a huge battle blade, his career weapon. Oh, someone chose hell difficulty. Wang Zihao, level 16, Berserker. Not bad. Berserker is considered strong among rare careers. Berserkers have good sustained combat ability, should do well in this round. Xiao Sui thought for a moment and chose normal difficulty. Elemental mages aren't good at close combat or soloing high-strength monsters without a tank. She chose normal difficulty, planning to win through quantity. As third place in the first round, Xiao Sui also received attention from examiners. They had a real-time view of her as well. When Xiao Sui chose normal difficulty, they nodded approvingly. Xiao Sui, level 15, Elemental Mage. A smart choice. Elemental mages have good burst damage, but it's troublesome if they can't kill before monsters get close, especially at low levels with incomplete skills. The second place finisher from the first round, Zhuo Mei, chose Hell difficulty. Zhuo Mei, level 16, Infiltrator. The examiners also paid attention to Zhuo Mei's choice. They commented after her selection. Infiltrators, as rare assassin class careers, have extremely strong close combat ability. So choosing neither Nightmare or Hell is a good choice for her. Indeed, she's also a promising candidate. I wonder what difficulty Lin Moyu's Necromancer will choose. All the noteworthy candidates had made their choices, leaving only Lin Moyu. After hearing the exam rules, Lin Moyu made his judgment. This round truly tests everyone's sustained combat ability. 30 minutes of continuous combat is quite pressuring for any career, except for me. A slight smile appeared on his lips. Lin Mo Yu made his choice. I choose hell difficulty. Actually, for him, the higher the difficulty, the better. All his skills were top tier in power. So higher difficulty meant higher points per unit, which benefited him more. An examiner smiled. As expected, he chose hell difficulty. He's both a mage and summoner. With summons, he's not afraid of monsters getting close. And his summon skills are very powerful. Combined with summons, he can definitely do well on hell difficulty. Actually, most summoners who came to take the exam before also chose hell difficulty, right? Let's wait and see. Outside the exam venue, principals from all over Jiangning province gathered. Old Lu, you're going to make it big this time. 0.1 seconds. How many years since we've seen such a result? You've got 2 of the top 3, Old Lu. You can't help but succeed. Your first high is going to make a big splash this time. If Lin Mo Yu can bring back the provincial top scholar title, you'll be on cloud 9, Old Lu. Principal Lu's face was red, extremely excited. He hadn't expected Lin Mo Yu to achieve such a good result. Too excited to speak, his whole body was trembling. All examinees had made their choices. As the countdown ended, the second round began. A light orb appeared in front of Lin Mo Yu. The orb rotated in the air, looking like a dungeon entrance. Then, an armored monster emerged from the orb, letting out an angry roar. Lin Mo Yu thought, and the skeleton warrior beside him rushed forward. It immediately slashed at the monster. Meanwhile, Lin Mo Yu cast detection on the monster. Dwarf Beastman Warrior. Elite. Level 13. Strength 500. Agility 300. Spirit 150. Constitution 400. These attributes, very weak. Much weaker than nightmare difficulty monsters in the West Sea Mine Dungeon. Lin Mo Yu immediately understood. After all, this was an exam meant to accommodate most people. If monsters were too strong, it would lead to mass eliminations. That would defeat the purpose of the exam. The exam's goals wasn't to eliminate candidates, but to select outstanding talents. The skeleton warrior's blade had already fallen on the dwarf beastman. Flesh torn open. With just one slash, the dwarf beastman was near death. As the dwarf beastman tried to counterattack, a second slash fell. The dwarf beastman died miserably. 2 slashes. Lin Mo Yu observed, then summoned another skeleton warrior with a point of his finger. The 2 skeleton warriors guarded the light orb, waiting for monsters to appear. 5 seconds later, a second dwarf beastman appeared. The 2 skeleton warriors immediately attacked, killing it instantly. Too simple. After several rounds, he understood that 5 seconds after killing monsters, another would appear. This round tested each career's sustained combat ability. The examiners were stunned. How are Lin Mo Yu's summons so strong? Stronger than any summoners we've seen before. And he has 2 of them. This career is amazing. Strong skills and powerful summons. This career was going to be incredible. Lin Mo Yu's side was too boring. 2 skeleton warriors guarded the orb, killing monsters as they appeared, not lasting 0.5 seconds. Examiners didn't want to watch anymore and turned to observe other candidates. Xiao Sui gripped her staff, casting spells. She chose normal difficulty so the monsters weren't strong. Basically, 2 skills could kill 1. She constantly adjusted her skill intensity, trying to minimize spirit power consumption. Though somewhat monotonous, it was much more interesting than Lin Mo Yu's side. Chapter 44. Too much, eating sweet potatoes while others fight for their lives. Xiao Sui's performance received unanimous approval from the examiners. Wang Zihao swung his huge double-blade sword, decapitating the dwarf beastman in front of him. His face showed bloodlust, his mouth revealing arrogance. Berserker, true to the name. In battle, rationality decreased while becoming extremely wild. This was without even entering berserk mode. Once berserked, he might lose all reason. Going all out from the start, efficiency will likely drop sharply later. Doesn't know how to manage stamina, needs improvement in this area. Not as good as Xiao Sui in this regard. The examiners cared more about combat adaptability than kill count. First, they looked at ability to last the full 30 minutes. Second, they compared combat power at the start versus the end. Real battles often last a while. Going all out at the start leaves nothing for later. Comparing Wang Zihao to Xiao Sui, the examiners already had their answer. Xiao Sui was clearly superior. Zhuo Mei, like Wang Zihao, also chose Hell difficulty. Compared to Wang Zihao's all-out fighting style, Zhuo Mei utilized the infiltrator's career agility to the extreme. She moved nimbly in all directions like a ghost, toying with the dwarf beastman. Every move was crisp, without waste, conserving energy. Her dagger strikes were fast, vicious, and accurate, dealing considerable damage each time. She also used skills at appropriate times to control the dwarf beastman warrior and even interrupt its skills. She displayed a high level of mastery of her current skills. Zhuo Mei's performance also gained the examiner's approval. After one round of observation, the examiners had a good understanding of each examinee's situation. They had formed evaluation standards in their minds. Back to Lin Mo Yu's side, the examiners were speechless. This kid is going too far. I agree. It's really too much. This guy actually brought food in his pocket. What was he thinking? Are sweet potatoes that delicious? Watching him eat is making me hungry. Lin Mo Yu was leisurely eating sweet potatoes one bite at a time. He had taken the sweet potatoes out and put them in his pocket before entering the exam. Storage spaces couldn't be used during the exam, so what if he got hungry? Now with his skeleton warriors instantly killing monsters as he had nothing to do, so naturally he started eating sweet potatoes. Eating during the big exam, a first in history. Note this down, let him go down in history for this. I think this exam was too easy for him. Should we increase the difficulty? The examiners were annoyed. Others were struggling with the exam while Lin Mo Yu was so relaxed. Yet his performance was still far ahead. No need. The exam must be fair no matter what. Ning Zhuangfang hadn't spoken since the exam began. But from his eyes, one could see he was very interested in Lin Mo Yu. This little fellow is quite interesting. During the 30 minutes, people continuously gave up or withdrew due to injuries. The sustained combat was a severe test of endurance for every career professional. Unlike dungeons where you could rest when tired, only Lin Mo Yu could even take a nap if he wanted. As time passed, finally after 30 minutes, all monsters disappeared simultaneously. It's finally over. Any longer and I couldn't have held on. So terrifying. I've never been this tired even in dungeons. Most people collapsed on the ground, gasping for breath. The short 30 minutes had nearly exhausted their energy. Xiao Sui's face was also slightly pale. For 30 minutes, she had carefully controlled her skills, conserving as much as possible. Her spirit power was almost completely depleted. With storage space sealed during the exam, no extra items could be used to recover spirit power. It was indeed very difficult. Finally over. I must have killed over 200. So that's over 200 points. Wang Zihao was completely collapsed on the ground. Towards the end, his efficiency was far lower than at the start. Large energy consumption and skill cooldown had sharply reduced his combat power. I must have killed over 50. This hell difficulty is really not easy. Among everyone, only Lin Moyu's condition was the best. He had passed these 30 minutes as if watching a show. This round of exams is over. 522 examinees participated in this round, of which 278 were disqualified due to injuries or voluntarily giving up. The remaining 244 examinees qualify for the next round of exams. Of course, you may also choose to give up. The next round will be more difficult and intense, possibly life-threatening. Please choose carefully. Everyone received the prompt simultaneously, allowing them to choose whether to give up or to continue the exam. Continuing meant facing harder exams with potential life danger. Giving up now would leave regrets. Many people were suddenly caught in a dilemma. The examiners all showed mischievous smiles. How many will choose to give up this time? Based on previous years, at least a third will give up. This year's pass rate is similar to last year's. So far, about 60% have been eliminated. 632 combat professionals started the exam, now only 244 remain. Looks like they all are struggling to decide. Let's give them another push to help them decide. The authoritative voice sounded again. Even if you give up now, your scores are enough to enter higher education institutions. You have 60 seconds to consider. If no choice is made after 60 seconds, you'll be considered as continuing. This was the last straw, completely breaking many people's psychological defense. I choose to give up. I quit. Can't continue anymore if I'll die. I'll die if I do. Many students chose to give up, but even more chose to continue. Having come this far, it would be a shame not to continue. Chapter 45. Is he even letting others play? Of the 244 examinees who passed the second round, over 60 chose to withdraw. In the end, only 180 people decided to continue the exam. Although some chose to quit, passing the second round already proved their strength. Entering ordinary higher education institutions wouldn't be a problem. Those remaining were aiming for the top-ranked institutions. Now announcing the rankings after the second round. First place, Lin Moyu, total points 1,605. Second, Zhuo Mei, total points 470. Jia Sui, third, 270 points. Fourth, Wang Zihao, 265 points. Wang Zihao jumped up shouting, "This is impossible! How can he score so high? In 30 minutes at a rate of one monster every 5 seconds, that's 12 monsters per minute maximum. On hell difficulty, 5 points per monster, that's 60 points per minute at most. The absolute limit for 30 minutes would be 1,800 points. And that's not even counting for time spent fighting. Generally, 200 to 400 points was considered good. Zhuo Mei's 400 points for killing 80 monsters was already excellent. But Lin Moyu's 1,505 points? That means he killed 301 monsters, 10 kills per minute, just short of the 12 per minute limit. Everyone had the same thought. Is this guy even human? Wang Zihao even suspected Lin Moyu of cheating, but he didn't dare say it. Saying that would offend the entire Divine Summer Empire's upper echelon. Cheating in the big exam was unthinkable. No one had ever dared try. It would be suicidal. The entire exam was under full surveillance. Cheating was impossible. Outside the exam venue, Principal Liu jumped up. His old face was even redder than before. His excited heart is his trembling hands. The cup in his hand shook non-stop, spilling water everywhere. Old Liu, your student is a bit abnormal. Indeed, very abnormal. Liu wanted to curse back. You're the abnormal ones. Your whole family is abnormal. He really wanted to know how Lin Mo Yu did it. In his memory, no one had ever achieved such a score. Even the brilliant Zhu Qiangxing only scored 700 points in the second round back then. Last year, Lin Mohan only got 650. Lin Mo Yu's score was higher than both of theirs combined. Beams of light from the trial tower fell on the examinees who chose to continue. Under the light, fatigue disappeared and spirit power was restored. In the blink of an eye, their condition was fully recovered. Now beginning the third round of exams. This round also has 3 difficulty levels. You will face a boss level monster. Normal difficulty, 100 points. Nightmare difficulty, 300 points. Hell difficulty, 500 points. The rules were similar to the last time. The previous round tested sustained combat ability. This round tested individual peak combat ability. A boss level monster to be faced one-on-one. Without support, this was a significant challenge for every career professional. Lin Mo Yu was the first to make his choice this time. I chose Hell difficulty. The examiners saw Lin Mo Yu's choice and began discussing again. As expected, this kid chose Hell difficulty again. With his skill strength and summon strength, he'll definitely be first again. Looks like he'll be Jiangning's province top scholar this time. Not necessarily, there are still 2 rounds left, especially the 5th round. They had overseen many big exams and seen many come from behind to win. Although Lin Mo Yu's performance was very strong so far, they couldn't be certain he'd get the top scholar position yet. Wang Zihao was now over 1,300 points behind Lin Mo Yu. He had originally aimed for top scholar, but now couldn't even make the top 3. First place will be mine. There are still 2 rounds. I won't lose. After the exam ends, don't let me catch you or you'll be sorry. Wang Zihao said viciously, also choosing Hell difficulty. Xiao Sui and Zhuo Mei also chose Hell difficulty, only needing to deal with the one monster. Xiao Sui's elemental mage and Zhuo Mei's infiltrator both had strong burst damage, so they weren't worried. After everyone made their choice, the examiners announced the start of the 3rd round. A huge monster appeared before each person. It was still a wolf-headed monster of the Wharf Beastman tribe. The monster wielded a sword in each hand like a sword fighter career professional. Wharf Beastman Captain, Boss. Level 15, Strength 1000, Agility 800, Spirit 500, Constitution 1000, Skill Wind Slash. Looking at the stats, Lin Mo Yu felt they didn't live up to the name. Though called Hell difficulty, it was greatly weakened. Probably due to being an exam, it was far from true Hell dungeon difficulty. It was only slightly stronger than the enhanced elite guard on Nightmare West Sea Mine Dungeon. Far from a true boss level monster. Lin Mo Yu understood the Empire's approach. If they used true Hell level monsters, even a small mob would be too much for most career professionals, let alone a boss. This was an exam to select living talents, not dead ones. When the exam began, Lin Mo Yu gave orders nonchalantly. 2 skeleton warriors quickly charged forward, simultaneously unleashing their skills. Berserk Strike. 2 loud bangs. The Wharf Beastman Captain didn't even make a sound before falling dead. Instant kill. Another instant kill. The examiners were stunned again. Again? Another instant kill? The summons can even use skills, and the skill power isn't small. Lin Mo Yu keeps showing this. It's too much. Is he even letting others play? Chapter 46. The best way is to deal with the summoner himself. Even the boss level monster was instantly killed by Lin Mo Yu. Lin Mo Yu's strength was now recognized by the examiners present. Although the monsters they arranged were weakened, they still shouldn't be able to be instantly killed. Didn't they see how hard others were fighting? Jia Sui was dodging the Wharf Beastman's boss's attacks while constantly casting spells to counterattack. Wang Zihao was directly engaging in close combat, blade meeting flesh. The berserker's aggressive nature was on full display. Only Zhuo Mei was doing a bit better, circling the monster and applying various controls. Look at the career professionals who chose other difficulties. Was any of them like Lin Mo Yu? Directly sending 2 skeleton warriors up, 2 strikes, and the battle was over. Lin Mo Yu didn't even move forward start to finish. I think he can solo those low-level dungeons now. More than that, he's qualified to solo nightmare difficulty dungeons below level 20. I don't think his combat power is limited to this. We haven't measured his true strength. Wait for the 5th round of tests. If he wants to be provincial or even national top scholar, he must choose the 5th round. Maybe then we'll see. The examiners discussed among themselves. The exam content was set by the Empire's higher-ups, and they had no authority to change it. The only one present with that power was Ning Xuanfeng, who came later. He only spoke when he arrived and hadn't said anything since, just watching with interest. The examiners noticed his attention was mostly on Lin Mo Yu. He seemed very interested in Lin Mo Yu. The 3rd round of tests ended quickly, taking only 10 minutes. People like Jia Sui, Zhuo Mei, and Wang Zihao successfully killed their opponents, earning 500 points. Some succeeded, some failed. Another group of examinees was eliminated, losing the chance to continue to the next round. They either gave up themselves or were forcibly stopped after being injured and losing combat ability. Although eliminated, their scores were quite good, enough to enter decent higher education systems or institutions. Only 120 people successfully passed the 3rd round. Now announcing the rankings after the 3rd round. First, Lin Mo Yu. Total points, 2,105. Second, Zhuo Mei. Total points, 970. Third, Jia Sui, 770 points. Fourth, Wang Zihao, 765 points. 67th, Gao Yang, 302 points. Lin Mo Yu saw Gao Yang's name in the rankings. Ranked 67th was a decent result. Persisting to this point, Gao Yang was certain to enter Jiangning's university. Lin Mo Yu was also understood Gao Yang. This guy was also very proud at heart. Having come this far, he definitely wouldn't give up easily. Needless to say, he would certainly participate in the 4th round. Wang Zihao was still ranked 4th. In the 3rd round, he knew he couldn't catch up. The 4th round is about to start. My chance is coming. He gripped his battle blade tightly, his eyes flashing with fighting spirit. The examiner's voice sounded again. The 4th round of exams will now begin. The difficulty of the 4th round will continue to increase, and the danger will increase accordingly. You can now choose to continue or give up. With your current scores, entering an institution ranked in the Empire's top 100 is no problem. This time, no one chose to give up. Those who persisted to this point were not cowards. White light shone down, falling on everyone. All were restored to peak condition. Fatigue gone, attributes full, all skill cooldowns reset. Since that's the case, I respect your choice. The rules for the 4th round are as follows. Each of you will face 10 waves of monster attacks. Each wave consists of 10 monsters, totaling 100 monsters. There's a 1-minute interval between each wave. Whether or not you've eliminated the previous wave, the next wave will appear after 1 minute. The last wave will be led by a boss-level monster. Killing all monsters means passing. Each monster is worth 10 points. If you clear everything, your final score for this round will be doubled, totaling 2,000 points. After explaining the rules, a light barrier rose in front of everyone. The first wave of 10 monsters had already appeared behind the barrier. They were ordinary monsters, level 13 Dwarf Beastmen. Of the 10 monsters, 9 were warrior type, with 1 mage type at the back. The warriors paired with a mage greatly increased the difficulty. Lin Moyu calculated in his mind, this difficulty had increased by more than just a bit. If one's monster clearing ability wasn't enough, they would be surrounded by more and more monsters, eventually leading to failure. He understood that this round tested the ability to quickly clear monsters. From basic combat power to endurance to one-on-one ability to rapid monster clearing, thus covering the strengths and weaknesses of various careers. This big exam was truly well designed. The examiners were already smiling. They all stared at Lin Moyu. Let's see how you deal with this. The best way to deal with a summoner is not to eliminate the summons, but to eliminate the summoner himself. I think Lin Moyu might be flustered, but his summons are strong enough he should be able to complete this round. Ning Xuanfeng, who had been silent all along, finally spoke. I think this round of tests won't be difficult for him. Everyone looked at Ning Xuanfeng with slight surprise. Ning Xuanfeng's words carried 70% certainty, seeming very confident. Although some examiners didn't quite agree, the status difference was there, so they didn't contradict him. Anyway, the truth would soon prove who was right or wrong. Chapter 47. The Holy Swordsman exerts himself, entering Berserk mode. The 4th round of testing officially began. A 3rd skeleton warrior appeared in front of Lin Moyu. The 3 skeletons charged at the level 13 monsters, 1 slash each. Instant kills without a doubt. A flash of fire appeared in Lin Moyu's palm, landing on the head of the mage monster in the back. Another instant kill. Less than 3 seconds from the start of the test. Almost in the blink of an eye, 9 Dwarf Beastmen warriors and 1 Dwarf Beastman mage had been killed. How does this kid have a 3rd summon? This little brat, why didn't he bring it out from the start? Only now. Damn kid, why does he like hiding so much? Yeah, the stronger you are, the happier we are. Ning Xuanfeng had an as expected expression. Lin Moyu unconsciously frowned. This so-called big exam had no challenge. It wasn't even as exciting as his first time in the West Sea Mine Dungeon. No surprises at all. He was even starting to feel drowsy. Unconsciously, he took out another sweet potato and started eating leisurely. I'm not watching anymore. There's no point watching this kid. Right. It's better to watch the others. On Lin Moyu's side, monsters appeared and were dealt with in at most 3 seconds. Indeed, not interesting. Watching others was much more fun. Xiao Sui kept retreating, leaving a trail of fire under her feet. The Dwarf Beastman chasing her steps on the flames, constantly taking damage. Fire Path. This was a skill mages could master at level 10. Once used, it formed a fire damage wherever it passed. It was very effective here. Area attacks were a mage's forte. Although her level wasn't high enough, Xiao Sui already had 2 area attack skills. The other was Ice Rain, which had a slowing effect. Combining those two, Xiaosui quickly cleared the Wharf Beastmen warriors. Comparatively, Zuomei had a much harder time. Infiltrators had strong burst damage, rich combat techniques, and many control skills. They were excellent at assassinations and one-on-one combat. The downside was they weren't good at group fighting and lacked area attack skills. So Zuomei was at a disadvantage here, only able to clear monsters one by one. Wang Zihao maintained his all-out fighting style. His huge two-handed sword whirled with loud whooshes. No matter which one, they were all interesting to watch. Only Lin Moyu's side was extremely boring. None of the examiners wanted to watch him. He spent more time spacing out than fighting monsters. No need to watch. He'll get first place in the 4th round again. Let's see if he dares to participate in the 5th round. Although his points are far ahead now, if he doesn't participate in the 5th round, others will catch up. In the 4th round, 10 monsters appeared every batch every minute. Those who were slow were starting to face more and more monsters. After 3 minutes, some people had already given up this test. Too many monsters had surrounded them. They were teleported outside the trial tower one by one. Being eliminated in the 4th round wasn't shameful and was even a bit honorable. They were all geniuses, able to enter the Empire's top 100 higher education institutions without problem. Those eliminated all had happy expressions, saying the monsters were too many, too terrifying. So scary, I thought I'd be eaten. How can you kill so many monsters in time? Wonder how many can pass this round. I thought I was good enough, but there are always better people. By the way, that Lin Moyu is too amazing. I guess this round won't be hard for him either. Gao Yang reached his limit after the 5th batch of monsters appeared and had to give up. As soon as he came out, he heard people talking about Lin Moyu. Having held back for so long, he couldn't help but say, "Lin Moyu's my boss. Of course he's amazing." "What's your name, brother?" "I'm Gao Yang from West Sea First High," Gao Yang said loudly. "So it's Brother Gao. Tell us how amazing Lin Moyu is." Gao Yang smiled. "Sure, let me tell you." He started talking nonstop. When he mentioned Lin Moyu taking him through a nightmare dungeon in 10 minutes, everyone looked incredulous. How is that possible? No one believed him, thinking Gao Yang was boasting. Gao Yang didn't care if they believed him or not, he just kept talking. He just wanted to talk, having held back for so long. As more and more people were eliminated, fewer screens remained in the control room at the top of the trial tower. In the end, only 5 people were left. Lin Moyu, Xiao Sui, Zuomei, Wang Zihao, and one called Feng Zhu. Feng Zhu, level 15, Holy Swordsman. The examiners were now watching Feng Zhu. Feng Zhu wielded his longsword, constantly moving within the circle of monsters. His movements were as agile as Zuomei's. Although each attack didn't look powerful, they added up, and the Wharf Beastmen fell one by one without notice. This Feng Zhu is finally starting to exert himself. I thought so. Holy Swordsman is a rare career. I wondered why his performance wasn't outstanding at first. Turns out he was waiting for this. He must be from the Feng family of sword cultivators, so he knows the big exam rules and knows the last 2 rounds are key for raising points. That's why he's only starting to exert himself now. The Feng family was involved in making the big exam rules, so naturally they're familiar. Oh, Wang Zihao finally decided to go berserk. He's not stupid. He's calculating the time. Now is the most valuable time to go berserk. The 7th batch of monsters appeared. Wang Zihao let out a roar, activating his berserk skill. Berserk. Duration 5 minutes. Strength increased by 500%. Constitution increased by 500%. Agility increased by 200%. After the effect ends, enter a weakened state for 30 minutes. After going berserk, Wang Zihao's attack power would increase several times, but it only lasted 5 minutes, so he waited until the 7th batch of monsters appeared to activate it. 5 minutes was enough. There were still over 30 monsters on the field, plus the 7th batch totaling over 40. In berserk mode, Wang Zihao started frantically clearing monsters. Each sword swing took out 2 or 3 monsters. He began rapidly clearing the field. Chapter 48. Conquest Space, the True Battlefield. After waiting for 1 minute, the final wave of monsters finally spawned. This time, the mage monster was gone, replaced by a boss-level monster. For Lin Moyu, it made no difference. The skeleton warriors charged in and attacked wildly, then everything fell silent. For Lin Moyu, the 4th round of exams was over. Now he just had to wait for the others. After 10 minutes, the 4th round finally ended completely. The 4th round of exams is over. 120 people participated in the 4th round, with 5 ultimately passing. A commotion spread through the entire venue, both inside and outside the tower, as everyone heard the examiner's voice. Out of 120 people, only 5 remained. This meant these 5 were true geniuses, qualified to enter top higher education institutions. At the same time, the rankings of the 5 were announced. Now announcing the rankings after the 4th round. First, Lin Moyu, total points 3,605. Second, Zhuo Mei, total points 2,470. Jia Sui, 2,270 points. Wang Zihao, 2,265 points. Fang Zhu, 2,200 points. Lin Moyu was still far ahead. Light shone on the 5, fully restoring all their conditions. Wang Zihao, who had been in a weakened state after berserking, had his weaknesses removed and could use his berserk skill again under the light. Everything is as expected. The 5th round is where the real victory will be decided. Wang Zihao gripped his blades, smiling. Xiao Sui let out a long breath. Top 5. I should be able to enter Summer Capital University now. Zhuo Mei's gaze was solemn. Summer Capital University, here I come. Without exception, all 5 were aiming for Summer Capital University. The examiner's voice sounded again. I know you all want to enter Summer Capital University, but it's not so easy to get in. Don't think you can rest easy just because you made the top 5. There's still one last round of exams. If your performance isn't excellent enough, you'll still be eliminated. If you want to enter Summer Capital University, let your points do the talking. As long as you can get 10,000 points, I guarantee you can get in. Now listen carefully to the rules for the 5th round. All 5 people listened intently. The 5th round of tests had its own name. It was called the Conquest Space. They would each be sent into a special space. Various monsters would continuously spawn there. There would be warrior types, mage types, archer types, knight types, and more. Every type of monster imaginable would appear there one by one, and in large numbers, with over 100 in the first wave. Later, there would be an enhanced types, elite types, enhanced elite types, bosses, and even super bosses. The faster they killed, the more monsters would spawn and the faster they would strengthen. This required everyone to adjust their own pace of attacks. It wasn't necessarily better to kill faster. The key was the point changes. The conquest space could be divided into 5 stages with different points for each stage. In the first stage, monsters were level 15, worth 50 points each. In the second stage, monsters reached level 16, worth 100 points each. For each level, the monsters increased, the points doubled. By the 5th stage, each monster reached level 19. One would earn 800 points. This was just for ordinary monsters. Enhanced monsters, elite monsters, bosses, and super bosses were worth even more points. Looking at it this way, if Lin Moyu failed at this round of tests, his previous lead would no longer exist. It seemed a bit unfair. Previous efforts would be wasted. But Lin Moyu understood that for true strong ones, the 5th round was where they could really shine. The purpose of the big exam was to select geniuses who could be pillars for humanity. As the countdown ended, the 5th round officially began. The remaining 5 were simultaneously transported into the conquest space. In the control room at the top of the tower, the images of the 5 people disappeared. The examiners looked disappointed. Sigh, these damn rules, even we can't watch. That's right. The 5th round is the most exciting part, but we're not allowed to see it. Our authority only allows us to see the point changes and make judgments based on that. Lord Ning, can you see it? The examiners all looked at Ning Xuanfeng expectantly. They were really itching to see, especially Lin Moyu's performance in the 5th round. Ning Xuanfeng swept his gaze over them and said flatly, "No, I can't see either." The examiners were shocked. Even you can't see it? Then who has the authority to view it? Ning Xuanfeng nodded. In the Empire, less than 10 people have the authority to view the 5th round of exam videos. The examiners were even more astonished. Less than 10 people? What kind of big shots were they? They didn't even dare imagine. Ning Xuanfeng continued. Anyway, remember, this is not something you should inquire about. I'm in a good mood today, so I said a bit more. We understand. Don't worry, we definitely won't inquire further. The examiners weren't fools. They realized this matter was certainly not simple. But even if they had the courage now, they wouldn't dare to inquire further. In the entire Divine Summer Empire, less than 10 people had this authority. Just hearing about it was scary enough. The conquest space was very vast, a huge plain. The ground was black, emanating a bloody smell. Countless rocks were scattered about, some several meters tall. This environment gave career professionals room to maneuver. Lin Moyu's nose twitched slightly. The smell of blood is strong, and it's full of death energy. Unimaginable battles have taken place here. As a necromancer, Lin Moyu was especially sensitive to death energy, whether in the West Sea Mine Dungeon or the previous round of exams. There was no death energy present. This place was different. It was truly permeated with death energy. Real life and death battles have occurred here on a large scale. Blood had soaked into the ground, dyeing it dark brown. The smell of blood lingered for years. Is this to let us experience the battlefield in advance? Footsteps sounded as a group of monsters appeared in view. Chapter 49. What exactly did Lin Moyu do? They were still at least 50 to 60 meters away. This group of monsters had already discovered Lin Moyu. The monsters roared simultaneously and charged towards Lin Moyu. 10 monsters, not many in number. Lin Moyu observed this and cast detection. Feline Beast Warrior, level 15. There was no more information. No attributes, no skills. This was the first time detection had returned so little information. Lin Moyu saw that each feline beastman warrior had a long tail trailing behind it. Each feline beastman warrior was over 2 meters tall, and with their appearance, they looked like giant lizards. Giant lizards that could walk upright. Their roars echoed through the conquest space, attracting the attention of other feline beastmen. Suddenly, several more groups of feline beastmen appeared in Lin Moyu's view. If it were other career professionals, they would probably engage the nearest feline beastmen. They would use their skills to kill a few, then retreat when surrounded using hit-and-run tactics. Once surrounded, the outcome would be predictable. But while this strategy suited others, it didn't suit Lin Moyu. 3 skeleton warriors standing beside him sprang into action, charging towards the feline beastmen. With blades rising and falling, the frontmost feline beastmen were immediately heavily wounded. Taking one hit, the feline beastmen were near death but didn't die completely. They still had a bit of life force left. Oh? Couldn't kill them instantly. These attributes. The skeleton warriors failing to instantly kill the feline beastmen surprised Lin Moyu a little. The feline beastman's constitution attribute wasn't low. Their attacks landing on the skeleton warriors didn't cause much damage. This indicated their strength wasn't high. This was a monster type with high constitution but low strength. Lin Moyu made his judgment. If 1 strike wasn't enough, then 2. A feline beastman with a miserable cry, dead. Lin Moyu's points instantly changed from 3,605 to 3,655. Although the control room couldn't see the scene from the 5th round of tests, they could see the point changes. Lin Moyu has made his move. Killed the first one very quickly. The points jumped again directly from 3,655 to 4,105. The change startled the examiners. They looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. How did it suddenly increase so much? The skeleton warriors killed a feline beastman warrior, and Lin Moyu immediately used corpse explosion. With a huge boom, this group of feline beastmen was completely wiped out. 10 feline beastmen increased Lin Moyu's points by 500. Then Lin Moyu didn't move again, but waited for the remaining feline beastmen to arrive. Since they would change over anyway, why bother going to them? And charge over. There were still 9 corpses here. When they came over, he would just use corpse explosion again. But in the next second, Lin Moyu was surprised to find the corpses had disappeared. The corpses seemed to sink into the black ground, vanishing. The corpses exist for a very short time, only about 10 seconds. So that's how it is. Looks like the plan needs to be slightly modified. Seeing a feline beastman teams running over from all directions, Lin Moyu released several more skeleton warriors. He had released a total of 9 skeleton warriors, assigning 1 to each team. The skeleton warriors advanced with crackling sounds, then led the feline beastman teams in a chase. Like kiting monsters, gradually gathering them together. 2 minutes later, the killing was complete. Nearly 100 feline beastmen had gathered together. The kiting was complete. The skeleton warriors attacked simultaneously, instantly killing 1 feline beastman. A thunderous roar instantly erupted. Lin Moyu used corpse explosion 7 or 8 times in just 3 short seconds. The black ground shook non-stop. All the feline beastman warriors were slaughtered. Lin Moyu's points instantly reached 8,605. The control room of the trial tower became lively again. What exactly did Lin Moyu do? Why did his points suddenly increase so much? Heaven knows we can't see what's happening in the conquest space, but Lin Moyu had 3,605 points before. Now he has 8,605. Exactly 5,000 points more. All we can say is he's wiped out the first batch of 100 monsters. As for how he did it, I don't know either. The examiners looked at each other. You look at me, I look at you. Looking at the others' scores again, they really couldn't figure it out. After all, Lin Moyu was just a level 16 kid. How strong could his skills be? Wiping out 100 monsters at once seemed unbelievable. Even Xiao Sui, an elemental mage good at dealing with groups, saw her points increase by 50 or 100 at a time. How could Lin Moyu increase by 5,000 in just a few minutes? Who would believe that? Ning Xuanfeng was much calmer than the examiners, but his eyelids were twitching. Even with his experience, he found it hard to imagine how Lin Moyu had done this. What exactly did this kid do? What kind of career is Necromancer really? Where is his limit? Ning Xuanfeng's mind was filled with questions. At this moment, he was also very curious about what was happening in the conquest space. Unfortunately, he didn't have the authority to view it. He could only analyze and judge based on the point changes. In the conquest space, corpses only exist for 10 seconds before disappearing without a trace. Lin Moyu quietly waited for the second batch of monsters to appear. This time, it should be like the fourth round of tests. Waiting for a minute, right? Just as this thought crossed his mind, a sense of crisis arose. The sky turned red, and dozens of fireballs, a meter in diameter, fell like meteors from above. Chapter 50. Stage 2. Increased difficulty. Lin Moyu's heart shook. The skeleton warriors stacked up from a shield-like defense line, firmly protecting him. The meteor-like fireballs crashed onto the skeleton warriors, exploding into dazzling showers of sparks. Lin Moyu was very clear about his own weakness. His constitution was too poor. If he took powerful attacks directly, massive damage would transfer to the skeleton warriors. This would cause the skeleton warriors to take extreme damage. If the skeleton warriors blocked for him instead, the result would be completely different. With the skeleton warriors' powerful constitution and ultra-high defense, they could almost ignore this level of damage. Lin Moyu stood behind the skeleton warriors, looking at the beastmen troops appearing ahead. A group of feline beastmen mages waved their wands, launching a rain of fire attacks. Large numbers of feline beastmen warriors charged forward, wielding weapons. These monsters appeared silently without any warning. Lin Moyu's lips curved into a smile. No matter how they appeared, it was good they didn't need to wait for respawns. The mage monsters in the back kept casting spells, the rain of fire never stopping. To ensure his own safety, Lin Moyu had 10 skeletons form a shield to block the mage attacks. At the same time, he sent out 10 more skeletons to engage the beastmen warriors. Skill. At his mental command, the skeleton warriors had lit up red. Hands had lit up red. Berserk Strike. With the skeleton warriors' strike attribute of 5,000, using the skill doubled their attack power. The feline beastmen warriors were instantly killed. Lin Moyu's palm glowed. A thunderous roar erupted. Corpse explosions spread wildly. The feline beastmen warriors fell like cut wheat. In just a few seconds, over 100 charging feline beastmen warriors were dead. 10 skeleton warriors charged like lightning toward the feline beastmen mages. Their 5,000 agility gave them incredible speed. With such a huge attribute gap, the skeleton warriors left after images in Lin Moyu's eyes. In the blink of an eye, the skeleton warriors crossed dozens of meters to appear before the feline beastmen mages. Blades rose and fell, killing with one strike each. The feline beastmen mages' constitution was lower than the warriors, allowing the skeleton warriors to kill them in one hit. The fire rain disappeared and everything returned to calm once more. While things were peaceful for Lin Mo Yu, the examiners in the trial tower's control room were still wide-eyed. After pausing for just over 10 seconds, Lin Mo Yu's score rocketed up again. 14,605 points. In less than 10 seconds, his score increased by 6,000 points. This meant another 120 monsters had been killed by Lin Mo Yu. These two instances were enough to explain the situation. This guy has an area attack skill. This career is going to be overpowered. The single target skills were already abnormal, and the area attack is just as crazy. It's not just the skills that are powerful, the summons are equally strong. I think this career has surpassed legendary grade. It could be compared to those few careers. We can't say that yet. After all, he's still low level. We need to see how it develops later. Being strong at low levels doesn't necessarily mean being strong at high levels. Similarly, being weak at low levels doesn't mean being weak at high levels. Some careers are mediocre until they obtain a certain godly skill, then become irreplaceable. There's one type of career that's usually not very useful, but once war breaks out, they become godlike existences. All their skills are group skills that affect entire armies. Having one such career professional in an army can double the entire army's combat power. Lin Mo Yu didn't know what the examiners were thinking. At this moment, he heard a rumbling sound. The entire ground shook several times, as if in an earthquake. The corpses disappeared in the shaking as if swallowed by the earth. An invisible gas rose from the ground, making the air even more bloody, even carrying a stench of corpses. It was nauseating. The sky became even more gloomy and dark. The oppressive atmosphere made it hard to breathe. Stage 2 has begun. Lin Mo Yu looked at the sky. He seemed well adapted to this atmosphere, showing no aversion. Perhaps it was related to his career. The aura of death didn't make him uncomfortable. Only the increasingly strong stench was unpleasant to him. As the ground's shaking gradually stopped, Lin Mo Yu had his skeleton warriors surround him, staying alert to all directions. A few seconds later, footsteps sounded. "They're coming," Lin Mo Yu said to himself. Large numbers of monsters suddenly appeared all around. The monsters came from all directions, in groups of 5, forming small teams. Feline Beastman Fighter, level 16. Feline Beastman Archer, level 16. Each small team had a 3-to-2 ratio, 3 fighters with 2 archers. Both fighters and archers were level 16. At least 40 teams were scattered around. From afar, Lin Mo Yu looked like he was surrounded. But after entering the second stage, not only did the monsters' level increase by 1, but their numbers also doubled. Lin Mo Yu wasn't worried about this. To him, they were just level 16 monsters. Even without using corpse explosion, just 20 skeleton warriors could kill them all given some time. He was currently pondering another question. At this difficulty, other careers would struggle to pass the second stage. Even if they could pass, it would take a long time. The difficulty of the first stage wasn't high in Lin Mo Yu's eyes. With some effort, most career professionals could pass. The second stage was much harder. Just increasing one level and doubling the monsters was enough to increase the difficulty several times over. Added to the appearance of archers, knowing mages as natural enemies. This change would deter most mage-type career professionals. That is it for this one. I hope you all have enjoyed. For each subsequent one, we will be doing 25 chapters per episode. I know this one was longer, considering it started at chapter 20. But going from here on, it'll be 25 chapters per episode. I hope you are enjoying this. If there are any other light novels or web novels you would like to have me read, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe and let me know what you think. Good night, everyone.